Welcome back to the Fantasy Endgame. I'm Pierre. He's Chris, as you see below. We are here to answer your questions as we do on Tuesday night because waiver wires will run in a lot of leagues. And even if they don't, you need help. Who to pick up, who to drop. And you look for some of you trades are still going on. If so, take advantage. Can't say it enough. You're going to win your league by being the most active owner, not by having the best draft. Because look, probably half of the team you drafted is toast at this point, either unstartable or hurt. It's making those moves in season, and that's what counts. You know what? I really wish that there were no trade deadline, but I get it. I get why there has to be. I mean, I don't know. Do you think, because Chris in Sleeper and Yahoo, for the most part, it was a week ago the trade deadline was over. You think that's a reasonable cutoff, or should it be extended because now the season's a week longer?
Yeah, it seemed like the trade deadline came up really quick. Like there's still a lot of games left. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there really shouldn't be a trade deadline because if you have a good commissioner, like I get the reasoning behind the trade deadline is right. You don't want like the last place team who's completely out of it and has no chance to make a trade with the first place team, that improves the first place team. But doesn't, because that doesn't really help, right? Like the last place team making a trade that helps the first place team, that kind of seems like not what, should really happen. But at the same time, if you have a good commissioner should prevent that. You know what I mean? A good commissioner should look at that trade and say, hey, look, no, we're not going to allow the first place team and the last place team to make a deal when there's only 2 weeks left before the playoffs. So, I mean, I get the reasoning behind the trade deadline, but yeah, it does feel like it should go a little longer with the season extended now.
Yeah, you know what? I think that if the NFL is considering pushing back their trade deadline, maybe fantasy league should too. I just a thought occurred to me just now as we're having this discussion. What if once you become mathematically eliminated from your fantasy playoffs, then you can't trade anymore? But all the teams that are still in it, still active, they can trade. That might be a good compromise. But anyways, that's too complicated. So anyways, look, if you're still in the market for trades, hit us up with those trade questions. If you're still in the playoff hunt at all, you should still be looking on waivers. Maybe you're in a really tough competitive league like our in-game leagues where you're really picking for scraps and you're really struggling to find good players. You might need that handcuff that helps you later in the league, that streamer that pulls out a couple of points for you. But either way, you should still be at least looking, even if you don't feel like you need help. So here to answer those questions. You know how this goes if you've been with us before. We'll try to answer as many questions as possible, and we will go in order they're received. If you use the super chat feature, guarantee your question will be shown on air and answered. And that's sort of like your fast pass. We will definitely get to those first and then get back to the other comments. Don't forget as well, we have a Patreon that you can join, patreon.com/fantasyfootballendgame. Link is below. And that is a way that you get your own channel on our Discord to ask questions, which brings me to another point. Join the Discord. It's completely free. It takes all of 2 minutes, even if you've never heard of Discord. Download the app, make a username, log in, join the channel. That's easy, simple, free. We're on there every day. Our amazing community got some people who are in there every day. News breaks on there probably faster than it does on ESPN. Not joking. So yeah. I honestly, I'll get my Discord notification and then I'll see it posted on Twitter or somewhere else. So lots of ways you can be part of our community. Still growing, still the fastest growing, and trying to make this the most positive, the most successful fantasy football community out there. We're trying to bring home a lot of trophies for you guys. So, and then Kelsey saying going from 1-2 to 10-2. That's what we want to hear. That's
nice.
What we're talking about.
Very nice, Kelsey.
All right. And speaking of the Patreon, our very first comment here. Well, he had a different comment before. But Michael Fawcett, one of our patrons. What's up, Michael? Coming from Seattle. Knox, Moreau, Ingram this week. Knox is on the roster. Other two are on the waiver wire. Yeah, I think after Knox did absolutely nothing against Detroit, I think I'm kind of out on Knox.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you can definitely send Knox to the waiver wire. I'm looking right now. So I don't off the top of my head.
And Moreau, we liked Moreau last week. He did score a touchdown. Not amazing game. You can't expect an amazing game from him, but was pretty solid. I know you probably didn't want to play him against your Seahawks, especially you were there at the game, seeing him score. Ingram is in a smash spot.
Yeah, that's
but
what
do
I
you
was
think he
looking
gets
at.
more targets.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Who they were playing. Ingram's got Detroit. That's great. Moreau's got the Chargers. That's not bad. That's not terrible. This is close. This is really close. Man, yeah. Let me see. Looking ahead here. So after this week, Chargers, Rams, Patriots. Ingram goes. Detroit. Yeah, neither one really has a great schedule. I thought maybe there'd be a tie break where one of them had like a great rest of season schedule. I'd be like, grab him and you can just hold him, but. I don't know. I probably got to go Ingram this week just because it's Detroit.
I mean, Ingram clearly has the better matchup. And, look, if Trevor Lawrence does what we have said, and, if you catch the videos coming out tomorrow, you'll see what we think about Trevor Lawrence this week. But the one thing I like about Moreau is he's actually scoring touchdowns, right? He's getting targeted in the end zone, and he's scored some touchdowns. Ingram really hasn't. And Lawrence seems to be looking more the ways of his wide receivers lately. I think this week is really close. Like this week, I know Ingram has the higher floor. But again, I like that Moreau's actually scoring some touchdowns. So I might lean Moreau in that sense, especially if it's half or non-PPR. Rest of the season, you probably have to go Ingram because, look, maybe Waller comes back. Who knows? It's pretty close, though. All right, and then our first super chat to XYCLHD. All right, what is up? Josh Allen or Deshaun Watson? And there you go. Your first Deshaun Watson question. Didn't take long.
It's Josh Allen. I don't care who he's playing. New England, it doesn't, whatever. That doesn't matter. Yeah. The list of quarterbacks that I start over Josh Allen is zero. There's zero. So I'm starting Josh Allen every week he plays, regardless of matchup.
Yeah, I really don't think matchup matters because, again, this is a guy who is just as valuable with his legs, and same reason. Now, maybe you can make a case, I'll put Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen some weeks like this week, maybe Pat Mahomes, but not Deshaun Watson, especially because he's had a 2-year hiatus. Let's kind of see what he does. I know the matchup on paper is great. There's a lot more going on here, as we all know. Josh Allen, I'm not worried about him in any way. So no, you're definitely starting Josh Allen. All right, and then let's set the over-under right now. Now, this isn't a start sit. We'll do start sit questions, obviously. We'll answer all your questions that you got. But Chris, just for Saturday, let's go set it now. What's the over-under on Deshaun Watson questions?
25.
Going low.
That seems like a lot. Is that not a lot? It seems like a lot to me.
Yeah, I'm expecting more. I'll go 32, but that's just the ones we're going to get. How many we'll answer? We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. We got Ice Cold Jones, waiver priority. Good question. Okay. J.K. Dobbins, not necessarily going to play this week, but the practice window is open. We're going to talk about him on the video that comes out. Is it Saturday? Probably Saturday. Madison, obviously the highest end of handcuffs. Zay Jones, who is a usable streamer, and Drake London, who is probably last of this group.
Yeah, I would go Zay Jones first, simply because they have a great rest of the season schedule. He's involved. He's been great the last 2 weeks. Trevor Lawrence has been great. I really like this passing offense rest of the season, so I would go Zay Jones. I would go Madison second. I know a lot of people are going to be going crazy for Dobbins again, but look, Gus Edwards is back. Kenyon Drake is there. We've already seen this with Dobbins. He had the worst possible ACL tear you can possibly have. The worst possible. Every ligament, tore his hamstring. It was awful. And we saw what happened when he came back. Had to go get a knee procedure done. I'm not trusting J.K. Dobbins. I'd probably still have him over Drake London though, because maybe, and then Drake London last. So for me, it's Zay Jones, Madison, and the other two I can just easily ignore personally.
Drake London has to be last. I mean, talented receiver. Look, with Kyle Pitts out, didn't matter like at all. That Kyle Pitts target share was not the issue in any way. The issue is what's still there is Marcus Mariota's quarterback. So anyways, Drake London, no. I agree, Dobbins third, all the reasons you mentioned. I mean, look, if you're going to play Zay Jones, then yeah, you should put him. If you can flex him this week, definitely pick him up this week. If he's just like a bench piece, I might say, well, then you go Madison first, because obviously his ceiling, if something happens to Cook, is higher. Like if you're just looking for a bench stash, I'd probably go Madison first. But if Zay Jones is playable for you, then I go him first for sure. Good question here. You have CMC. Are you picking up Jordan Mason or TDP?
I mean, if you're going to grab one, I think you have to prioritize Mason because he's at least been active and playing. Davis Price hasn't even been active. So you got to think if something happened to CMC, next man up would be Mason. My guess, though, is that we probably see some sort of committee because obviously Shanahan isn't super high on either of these guys. But if you're going to pick up one, I think it's got to be Mason.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. And not to give it all away, but that video when I talk about my early waiver wire kind of guys to stash, not guys you're going to play this week, not guys guaranteed to have value, but could. I'll tell you which one I prefer, even though I pretty much just told you. So, Royland, what's up, Royland? Welcome back. Okay, got Jeff Wilson, Najee, Rashad, Hunt, and Murray. Would trading for Aaron Jones help me rest of the season? I mean, if those are all your running backs, then yes.
Yeah, and especially Najee, man, we don't know with Najee, right? There's some look. It's all speculation, but you know, if it's like a sports hernia thing where he needs surgery, he's done for the season. So let's hope not. I mean, let's hope not, of course. But with so much uncertainty with Najee and like, you know, Jeff Wilson, Rashad White, like they're Latavius Murray, they're fine. Like Rashad, obviously, if Leonard Fournette was out, Rashad you could count on week in, week out, like as a stud, but probably can't count on that. So yeah, you this team needs Aaron Jones. If you can get Aaron Jones, you do it. Definitely do it.
Yeah. Like I said, you said if Najee's out, yeah, you need running back help. Rashad White looked good, but Leonard Fournette probably coming back. Jeff Wilson didn't look good. And Raheem Mostert might come back. Yeah, you're definitely lacking a stud at running back. So now if you can do that, definitely do it for this weekend because I feel really good about Aaron Jones, as should everyone because he plays the Bears. Willie Pete, 125. Drop the Pats defense because of their schedule and pick up the Chiefs defense for their schedule. Chiefs do have a great schedule. That is true. Is it worth dropping the Pats?
I guess. I mean, I don't look. I got sucked into it this year, you know, like the Eagles, and I played them like 3 straight weeks, 3 disappointing straight weeks when I could have streamed a better defense. And finally last week I was like, I'm done with this. And I picked up the Dolphins, thankfully. I've never in my life not streamed defenses. That's the only way I've ever played. Like even from when I first started playing fantasy and I learned about streaming defenses, I was like, this is by far has to be the best strategy for defense. And it is by far the best strategy for defense. So don't pigeonhole yourself into like, I'm only going to have the Patriots or I'm only going to have the Chiefs. If the Patriots, like what, they're playing Buffalo this week, right? So you don't want to play the Patriots, I'm guessing. The Chiefs are playing the Bengals. You probably don't want to start the Chiefs. So I would just go a different defense, like a defense playing a terrible team, like Seattle against the Rams, Cleveland against Houston, something like that. I know those aren't like as sexy as defenses as the Patriots, but look at Miami last week. Miami's not a sexy defense. They dropped 18 fantasy points. It's more about the matchup for defense than the defense. So, yeah, I wouldn't hold on to either. I would just stream and play the best matchups available.
Yeah, I mean, look, to answer your question, just pick one of those two. It's the Chiefs because, look, here's the thing. They get Denver twice.
That's pretty nice.
That's it. Cold. Okay, you get to play Denver twice, and they play Houston. But, yeah, definitely a far better schedule. That's what you should prioritize. But, again, if you're in a league where the Chiefs defense is just out there, then probably you have other defenses that are pretty good that are out there as well. So still play matchups. Now, if the only option there that out, is on the waiver wire is like the Falcons, or like the Raiders, okay, then you hold on to that defense and you don't worry about it. But yeah, generally streaming defenses is the way to go. All right, and then we got Miguel Cordovez, trade Chase for AJ Brown.
I want Chase. I don't know if you're asking give up Chase for AJ Brown or give up AJ Brown for Chase, but either way, I want Chase by a wide margin. I mean, we've seen it. Like AJ Brown is still kind of the same guy he was in Tennessee. He has those boom games like a few weeks ago where he goes off, scores 3 touchdowns, and then he has those games where he's just kind of okay, right? And even Chase, when Chase wasn't very good early in the season, he was still putting up like double-digit PPR points. He just has a way higher floor with probably a higher ceiling, or at least just as high as ceiling. I definitely want Chase.
Definitely want Chase. Look, a week ago, Chase wasn't playing. AJ Brown was still like, you got to start him. You might have noticed this week, if you look at the wide receiver start sit video, AJ Brown's not a no-brainer anymore. Like, obviously, you're starting him in most leagues, but he's one of those guys that just kind of always seems to have something, right? Always banged up here and there. Will put up a huge game, then put up a dud. You have to keep him in there for his upside, but Chase, yeah, give me Chase over pretty much all but a couple of receivers named Justin Jefferson. I mean, even Devontae Adams, yeah, maybe not even. So, yeah, I would take Chase. Dudone, welcome back. Who to prioritize? Ty Johnson, Benny Snell, or Jalen Warren?
I mean, definitely not Ty Johnson. The Snell and Warren is the big question here because it comes down to will Jalen Warren be healthy this week or not? Because I gotta think if Jalen Warren is healthy, he's the guy because Benny Snell was not even involved at all until Jalen Warren got hurt. So, I know Benny Snell did okay, last night after Najee went out. But again, Tomlin's telling us how he feels about these running backs when every single week the rookie is the number 2 and Benny Snell is just doing nothing. So this is one of those. It's tough because of course waivers run tonight and we don't know if Najee's gonna miss. We don't know if Jalen Warren's gonna miss. So I think I would probably prioritize Warren, especially if you don't need them this week, right? Like if you're not going to start him this week, I'd prioritize Warren because you got to think when he comes back, he's going to be the guy. But of course, we don't know if he's going to play. So I'm still prioritizing Warren.
Yeah, that's the annoying thing is we just don't know. Is Jalen Warren going to play? If so, he's clearly the guy. I mean, remember they were talking him up right before Najee started to get better. Maybe that was just to light a fire under Najee, and if so, it worked. But yeah, you got to think if Najee misses time, Warren's going to be the guy. And even if it isn't this week, well, then the next week he's going to be the guy because I don't think his injury was, it was a hamstring, right? Warren's got a hammy, so it can be tricky. You really don't know. But that's the problem is we don't know. So I would just go with Warren. It's not like you're missing out on massive upside with Benny Snell.
Yeah.
So you might as well take a shot on the higher upside with Warren. And Austin, drop boy to claim Christian Watson? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Definitely do that. 100%.
Yeah, and it's crazy that at this point, after the last 3 weeks, that Christian Watson is still just out there on your waiver wire. Yeah, pounce on that. Definitely pounce on that. Shrek 2, still on DVD. Will OBJ be relevant this year? Got him stashed.
Will he even play? Like, will he even join a team? Like, what is this not like? Remember, it was like, okay, after Thanksgiving, he's gonna like start talking to teams, and it was like, well, okay, December 5th. It's like, well, I mean, I guess technically December 5th is after Thanksgiving, but come on, man, like, really, you're gonna wait till like December to even start like talking and make it? Yeah, like, probably not, honestly.
Doesn't it just feel like he's a guy who's waiting until like the last week of the season to kind of say, oh, let me get on the field and look, I can still play. So that way he can just kind of kind of ride along for the playoffs and then just say
Yes.
he won a championship after playing 3 games. Not that he's going to win a championship if he goes to Dallas, but still, yeah. I guess you can stash him for one more week, but look, if we don't even hear what team he's going to be on after this week, just drop him. The Firearm Addict wants to know, would you trade Wilson for Swift?
Is that Garrett Wilson? I'm assuming.
I mean, if you're talking running backs, I'm thinking Jeff Wilson, but
well, if it's Jeff Wilson, I will definitely make this trade, and that does make more sense since it's running backs. But I don't know. In my world, I trade wide receivers for running backs, so that's how my brain thinks. But if it's Jeff Wilson, definitely making this trade because look, what are we expecting from Jeff Wilson now? He just bombed in the best possible matchup. Now he gets San Francisco. He's going. I mean, I get it's a revenge game. Maybe this week he'll go off because it's San Francisco, and he'll run like Josh Jacobs, who won't even let like an injured calf stop him from the big payday that's coming his way. But like, he's got a brutal schedule in the playoffs. He's got New England and Buffalo in the playoffs on the road. Both those games on the road, by the way. So I'd rather just bank on Swift if it's Jeff Wilson. Now, if it's Garrett Wilson, I want Garrett Wilson because, like, we've already seen Garrett Wilson's upside and we know his potential is there and it's already been realized. Like, we don't have like what we're hoping for from Swift are kind of getting from Garrett Wilson already. So I'd rather just keep Garrett Wilson, honestly.
Yeah. And then you can clarify if you want, if you throw another comment in there. But yeah, if it's Jeff Wilson, I definitely do it. I mean, just take a shot on Swift. At the very least, he's scoring touchdowns, even if he's not getting the ball a ton. And if he does get the ball more, yeah, he'll definitely be worth it. Garrett Wilson, though, no, you don't want to trade him now. Jesus Sosa comments here. Traded Waddle and Boyd for Mixon and Godwin. You like that?
I definitely like that. I mean, you're getting a huge upgrade out, from Boyd to Godwin. Like just like you go from a guy that literally should just probably be on waivers at this point
Right.
to potentially a top 15, maybe even a top 10 wide receiver rest of the season. We'll see. Waddle Mixon feels pretty fair to me as far as running back and wide receiver go. So yeah, you're getting you crush that trade for sure.
Yeah, that's a huge win for you. Look at this point. Again, not reading too much into one game, but Godwin has been solid all year. But now if he is better, you could see Godwin and Waddle be pretty much comparable. So basically, you got Joe Mixon for nothing. I mean, for free.
Yeah.
That's a win. All right. Should I trade Barkley for Stevenson?
No, I'm definitely not doing that. And if you guys check back later this week, we did have a video coming out where we talk about the running backs we like the most for just in the fantasy playoffs based on, talent, usage, and schedule. I will say, I'm not going to spoil it. Both Stevenson and Barkley are in there. Not going to spoil which one is higher, although we kind of just did. But you can check it out and find out. So,
yeah, but I'm not doing. I know people are worried. Barkley hasn't looked great the last couple weeks. Stay the course.
Yeah,
stay the course.
And just real quick, Firearm Addict did say it was Jeff Wilson, so definitely take Swift.
Definitely, yeah, take Swift for sure. Funny, I guess it's not a sell high because not like people are high on Swift anymore, but even after Wilson's dud, someone's still wanting to take him on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what's interesting in that game, it almost feels like what I'm seeing, at least on social media, like the 49ers, they feel like it's like a revenge game for them. Like all those players who left, because coach went to Miami, all these guys went to Miami. They're kind of jealous. So it's like they're motivated.
Exactly. Like I saw something where like Trent Sherfield posted something on like IG, and one of the players was like, "Dude, you were only here for 1 year. Stop it."
Yeah. Now Mostert is the one who was getting a lot of hate because they said that he was dogging Jimmy G, and he's like, "No, I didn't. I don't know. I didn't get into all that. Not into the drama." But, anyways, let's get to Frosif. Should I trade Dameon Pierce and Palmer for Stevenson?
Absolutely, I do this. I mean, Josh Palmer is fine, but look, Mike Williams, maybe it's not this week, but he's going to be back soon. Dameon Pierce, maybe he'll have a good game this week, because it's Cleveland, but we've already seen, man, like you can't be feeling good about Dameon Pierce right now. You got to feel great about Stevenson. Who knew Stevenson would be Austin Eckler? You know what? Stevenson is actually what we hoped DeAndre Swift would be, right? Like a PPR monster. Yes. The dude does nothing on the ground and racks up 20 PPR points every week. It's crazy. I don't think anybody thought that was going to happen, but here we are. No reason to think it'll stop. I think you got to go Stevenson.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say a big surprise. Like, it was kind of late in draft season, and I started feeling like this is going to be more Ramondre's backfield. I didn't think he would be that involved as a pass catcher. That's what really shocked me. Like, I knew, oh yeah, he can catch a couple passes here and there, like maybe 2 or 3. Didn't see like 6 or 7 a game coming, but
no,
who knew? Yeah, I would do that too. Look, we're definitely worried about Pierce. And Palmer, look, for you, obviously your sake, you're hoping Michael Williams comes back this week, and then you got him in your lineup, and you don't have to worry about whether you should start Palmer. I think you'll be fine. You got Chase, and you got Williams back, and then you have Pittman. If not this week, at least you have those guys, probably, hopefully, for week 14 on. Like, you're not going to miss Josh Palmer. So I definitely do that. Fair question, Massimo. Any worries on Najee?
I mean, you have to be worried on Najee. It's an abdominal injury. Yeah, I mean, you got to be worried. It's like, man, what a year for Najee, right? I get, hurts his foot in preseason, gets off that terrible start, looks terrible. Finally starts to look like the guy that we expected. Has this great schedule rest of the season. Last night already had a touchdown. Already was like tearing it up. And now he's hurt. Like, just we're just gonna have to say it's just one of those years for Najee. Lost season. It sucks, but it is.
Well, we'll see. Not been ruled out yet. Let's hope it's not the worst. But that's okay. Look, keep the faith. Don't just ignore him next draft season. He's still a quality running back. Let's hope they patch up the offensive line even a little bit more. Can he pick it? Maybe he gets a little bit better. I don't know. But we're still doing the giveaway. Look, you want that Najee Harris jersey. We're still doing it. If you're in the Discord, mention it. Look for the giveaway bot. It's going to give you all those details. All right. Willie Pete with another one. Okay. Got the Chiefs and the Pats defense. Thinking about dropping Pats for Seattle this week. And then KC for the rest of the way. And then someone else for week 16 for championship week. Okay. So you're doing the streaming thing. Like Seattle this week. We love Seattle this week.
Yeah, definitely Seattle this week for sure. And then,
so I guess, are we looking? Let's look ahead since you asked the question.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to look at.
Week 16.
So that's what I'm looking at. So week 16, you got Tennessee versus Houston. That looks like a great matchup to me. Tennessee's a great defense. And one thing about Tennessee, they're great against the run. So they should have no problem shutting down the only weapon that Houston has, which is Dameon Pierce. So I think they'd be looking good. Let's see. What else do we have? Yeah, really, I mean, maybe if Denver is still on your waiver wire, they get the Rams. Yeah, that's really all it's standing out to me. Maybe the Chargers against Indy if they have Bosa back by then.
I wonder if I would think, look, if Aaron Rodgers says once they're mathematically eliminated, he's not playing, well, that won't take too long. So maybe if you got Jordan Love there against the Dolphins in Miami, you think that would be a spot you want to stream against him, or you're worried that Jordan Love might actually be good?
No, I'm not worried that Jordan Love might actually be good, but that's definitely a good spot. But I think my preference right now would be Tennessee, and I'm guessing they're probably out there. Because on Yahoo, they're only rostered on 34% of leagues.
Yeah.
And again, they're getting Houston. It's either going to be Davis Mills or Kyle Allen. They're a good defense. They can shut down Houston. I mean, anybody can shut down Houston, but they can definitely shut down Houston. So if you're looking ahead, I think Tennessee would be my first choice.
And I mentioned this before. Look, I know that statistically Cleveland has not been great defense this year, but they do have some talent. They're getting their quarterback, upgrade. And they get the Saints in that week. And the Saints offense has just been god-awful lately. So by that point, Saints will be out of it mathematically. That might be a good, deeper option. All right. Kyle Burks. Welcome back, Kyle. How high would you prioritize Zonovan Knight? I know I mentioned him in the waiver wire video. Not a must add, like, no doubt. We don't know for sure if he's going to be the guy. Look, I mean, there's a possibility James Robinson does get activated. He wasn't hurt. Like, it's not any more than, he has been.
Yeah.
There's a possibility Michael Carter plays. There's a possibility neither of them play. It's like we have no idea. So I think he's worth a stash, but I mean, I'm not blowing more than 5% of my fab at most on him.
Yeah, I'm not going to blow a ton of fab on him because also, even if Michael Carter is out, like let's say this week or a week or two, what happens when Michael Carter comes back? What happens if they do start playing James Robinson again? Like I wouldn't use a high waiver priority on him, and I would not blow a ton of fab on him. Like I'll put a small bid on him, in my leagues. If I get him, great. If I don't, oh well.
Yeah, really. Probably assuming $100 budget, maybe $3 is fair. That should be enough to get him, I would think. And then Richie James or Mac Hollins.
I think I got to go Mac Hollins. Like Richie James, Giants. I got to go Mac Hollins.
Hollins has had several moments. Not super consistent, but he's technically the number 2 guy there right now. And that's a team that's going to have to keep passing the ball because their defense is terrible. So, yeah, I feel good enough to add Mac Hollins for sure. Then we got Nate from South Florida, I assume.
Right.
Rashad over Etienne this week. The foot is scaring him.
Not if Etienne plays. I mean, look, maybe if Etienne is, maybe he doesn't practice tomorrow, doesn't practice Thursday, limited Friday, questionable with the foot. And it's like, okay, maybe he's going to be in some kind of timeshare with Hasty this week or something. But it sounds like he was fine. It sounds like he could have played last game. They were just being careful with him. Like, and again, even then, I would need Rashad to have no Lenny, right? He'd have to have no Lenny. So, no, definitely Etienne over Rashad. Unless Leonard Fournette is out, then we can maybe talk.
Well, that's true. I mean, that is possible. There's no guarantee Fournette plays. If Fournette is out, I go Rachaad White. But if Etienne is playing and Rashad's splitting time, I think you still have to go Etienne. I don't mind trying to get Hasty off the waiver wire, but I didn't put him as one of my top 5 pickups because Etienne's playing pretty much. He already said, and so Doug Peterson. And don't forget Darrell Henderson is now there. So he's not a high priority pickup. I don't mind you adding me as a handcuff if you can afford it, but that's about it. All right, what about Mike Evans? I know we're going to get a lot of questions. He's not a must start, no doubt, for us anymore either. But if your other options are Burks, Palmer, and Myers,
I'm still going Evans. I mean, Palmer and Myers, they're fine, but that's like it, right? They're just like fine. Burks, sure, he has some upside, but he's not going to catch a fumble or he's not going to recover a fumble in the end zone again, more than likely. Probably ever again, more than likely. So I'm still rolling with Evans, especially over these guys.
Yeah. Again, if you have a top 20-ish wide receiver, maybe, but I'm not that worried about Evans. Look, he's had bad games before. I know people worry about Marshawn Lattimore. I looked it up. Marshawn Lattimore hasn't played since week 5, if I remember.
Yeah.
Are we sure is he even playing this week?
Well, we don't know yet. Like I said, I mean, maybe he he sees Mike Evans on the schedule, and suddenly he's good to go. Suddenly he's like, it's like, I don't know if you guys saw that report about Josh Jacobs. Tom Pelissero said, he hurt his calf, was very borderline to play going into the game, decided to give it a go, re-injured the calf, but stayed in the game and did all what he did. Why did Josh Jacobs do that? Because he's not getting paid next year. he's playing for a paycheck right now. There's no way if Josh Jacobs is getting paid $10 million, he even plays in that game. So Marshawn Lattimore, no, my abs kind of hurt. Oh, Mike Evans? Oh, I'm good. Let's go. Maybe that happens. I don't know.
Who's to say, but I wouldn't be shocked if that does happen. Yeah. I'm still playing Evans, though. I'm not too worried.
I'm still playing him either way.
I feel compelled to answer another defense question just because it's Miami defense. Can I just keep Miami defense for the rest of the season? No.
No, and like you definitely don't want to. Who I
They
mean,
get
I'm dropping them
Buffalo.
for sure. Who do they? It's like a tough matchup this week, right? Yeah, it's San Francisco. You don't want to. Because the thing about San Francisco, the thing about Jimmy G is he's not a guy like, yeah, he might take a couple sacks, but he's not going to throw like a bunch of interceptions and give you that. And yeah, there's not a lot of upside against San Fran like there was against Houston.
Right. I mean, the one thing Jimmy G does well is not throw too many interceptions. But the next 2 weeks at the Chargers, at the Bills,
Yeah, you're not starting them then.
not at all.
No.
That's a defense you want to avoid.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me how we say this. Toge pie
And the mud kip.
and the mud kip. That sounds like an
All
old
right.
like 1930s like black and white cartoon or something.
Yeah.
All right. So here you go. Well, thank you. I
Thank
love
you.
your meme.
Thank you.
I hope I said it right. Trade CMC and Julio for, are you ready? AJ Brown, Rashad White, and Leonard Fournette.
I kind of think you have to do this. I mean, Julio Jones to me is like,
Well, yeah.
you're never gonna. I mean, if you're a playoff team, you should never be starting Julio Jones. Like your team should be good enough that you never need Julio Jones. So to me, it's CMC for AJ Brown, and then basically the Bucks backfield. And
in the context here, 6-6 needs to win. Worry about CMC's knee. I get that. We can't just say, it's probably nothing. We've been there.
yeah,
before,
not with
so.
CMC, we can't say that.
So do you do it? Because look, if you get both Rashad and Lenny, at least you know you've got a piece of that backfield.
Yeah, that's I think so because it's close. I mean, it really depends on the rest of your team. Like, are you hurting at wide receiver? You know, like are you starting Josh Palmer as your wide receiver 2 every week because you're just hurting, and maybe you're deep at running back? It's pretty close. It feels like a very fair deal for CMC though. It feels very fair. Man, I just wish Leonard Fournette was like on IR or something so we could just, know that Rashad was going to get 90% snaps and all the, like, basically going to be the biggest workhorse in the NFL basically. But I still think it's fair. Again, it comes down to team. It comes down to my team. It would depend on my team. Like if I felt like I could lose CMC and maybe I had somebody else I could plug in, or I had another stud running back and it's like, okay, I can play CMC and Rashad. And like I said, I'm rolling out Josh Palmer as my wide receiver 2, or I'm rolling out a guy like Devonta Smith, who's fine, but like doesn't give you the warm, fuzzy feeling every week, then I might do it.
Yeah, I'd say if you already have somebody who would qualify as a bona fide RB1, one of the guys that will be on our top 12 rest of the season video, then yeah, you could do it because you'll be fine with this Tampa Bay backfield as your RB2. But if this leaves you really thin at running back, might not be worth it. Okay, so now where is it? Here we go. Joe Trapp, Tua or Dak?
I'm going Dak, whether it's this week or rest of the season. Honestly, I know San Francisco better against the run than the pass, but they're still pretty good. And Dak's been looking great. And we've talked about Tua's schedule in the playoffs. I mean, he's got 2. Look, maybe Buffalo won't be a tough matchup because they'll just never get how that defense will never get healthy, and by the time he plays them, won't be that bad. But still, I have Dak slightly over him rest of the season and this week.
Got to go Dak this week. Obviously, at San Fran, not the best matchup. Tua is still startable, but you got to like Dak better. Same thing. I would go Dak rest of the season. And if I'm saying, it's legit.
Yeah. I know that's hard for you to say.
I know. All right. Now, get that you're worried here about Kamara. We have talked about him a little bit here and there based on the schedule. Let's talk about Kamara for the playoffs. This week, I think he's still going to be, well, you guys probably saw the running back video. You're still going to sit him probably if you can. But what about rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I feel fairly good about Kamara in the playoffs because the matchups are so good. And the nice thing is he's still catching passes, he's still getting targets. But yeah, we can't expect, like I said, like we can't expect league winning Kamara, RB1 Kamara. But if Kamara's your RB2, not this week, you're not feeling good. Like I'm benching Kamara everywhere I have him. But week 15 on, you should feel good enough about him as an RB2, not your number one running back.
Yeah, I really don't see him being a league winner this year. I don't foresee a 6-touchdown game coming or anything crazy. It's just the offense as a whole. You know what I mean? It's not just all Andy Dalton's fault. A lot of it, but not all of it. But Sean Payton's not there either. You know what I mean? He was kind of the straw that stirs the drink, I guess, if you want to call him that. But yeah, Kamara, I think he'll be fine based on his schedule, but I'm not getting too excited. All right, Jarvis wants to know, would you trade away Higgins and Montgomery for Chase?
This feels like an overpay, even for a guy as good as Chase, because look, Higgins has been great, and he was great even with Chase. So, like, I don't feel like the drop from Chase to Higgins is that big, and you're giving up a really solid, upside RB2 in Montgomery. So I would just stick with Higgins and Montgomery.
Yeah. I mean, remember, before those last couple of games where he went off, Higgins was outproducing Chase on the same offense. Higgins is really good. Yeah. So, no. What about Waddle on Montgomery for Hill?
Same thing. It just feels like you're overpaying for slightly more production at the wide receiver position. I mean, yeah, again, I don't think the drop off from Hill to Waddle is so great, that it's worth giving up Waddle and Montgomery for. Like, I just feel like you're better off with Waddle and Montgomery.
Yeah, and I can see, looks like he's kind of trying to package Montgomery in as a throw-in because he says he has CMC, Taylor, and Aaron Jones. So you're not really starting Monty. But what if CMC is hurt and then all of a sudden you're not so deep at running back? But look, I wouldn't just give a guy like that away. Because again, if you were getting a bigger upgrade, like instead of Waddle and Montgomery for Hill, if it was, I'm trying to think of a player that's kind of that, or like that wide receiver 2 range.
Yeah.
Because Waddle is still a stud. If it was like
Olave and Montgomery or
like Mike Evans and Montgomery, like, Terry McLaurin, that would make more sense. But
you're
probably giving a little bit too much away. And your receivers are pretty good. I don't even know if you really need enough.
Great receivers. You got great. You're pretty stacked. So
yeah. Okay. Let's see. Had a good question, and of course I lost it. It was about Justin Fields. Oh yeah, Henry Odom. Here it comes. Welcome back, Henry. Do you hold Fields or drop him if you have Deshaun Watson?
I'm still holding Fields. I mean, like, if he plays this week, I'm playing Fields. I'm playing him. I'm playing him over Watson for sure because we know what he can do with his leg. Like, Deshaun Watson is not going to rip off a 60-yard touchdown run. He's just not. So, look, if Fields is out again this week and Deshaun Watson looks great and looks like he, the guy we remember, then maybe I'll drop Fields. But right now, I'm still holding on Fields.
Yeah. What is Fields' upside? The number one quarterback in all of fantasy football. I mean, look, there's no guarantee he gets back to that. There's no guarantee he's healthy. But again, it's not a knee. It's not, even his throwing arm. It's left shoulder, right? So they're going to be careful. There's obviously risk. But if he plays, you play him. And that's including over Deshaun Watson. All right. And this is Dan Henry. Welcome back, Dan. Thank you so much. Appreciate the compliments. And yeah, we don't need to get on here for 3 hours and talk about ourselves.
Yeah, no.
We do this for you guys, not for ourselves. So need one for the flex in non-PPR. Okay, so that dings a couple of these guys. Rashad, Amari, Gus, Christian Watson.
look, I know it's hard to bench Christian Watson right now, but I still got to go with Amari, even in non-PPR. He has so much upside, big play upside, touchdown upside. If Leonard Fournette was out, maybe I could go Rashad over Amari, but that would be the only way. But I'm still probably going Amari. He just has, even in standard scoring, he has tremendous upside.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Amari Cooper here because, Watson just can't stop scoring touchdowns. Amari Cooper's been scoring at a fair rate too. Gets that quarterback upgrade. And this week, it's such a great matchup for him. Keep talking about how bad they are on run defense. But then I also keep reminding people they allow the most yards per target to wide receivers. As you saw last week, definitely susceptible to the passing game. And their pass defense last week, it was what, got them routed this time, not the run defense. So anyways, I still think it's Amari. I mean, Christian Watson on your bench, you don't love that, but I can't bench Amari.
Yeah.
Let's see who is next. Let's go to Emilio has 3 quarterbacks. Who would you keep? Here's the same dilemma. You got Fields, you got Watson, and you got a guy that we're now suddenly high on is T-Law.
I mean, if I'm only keeping, first of all, if I'm only keeping 2, I'm dropping Lawrence. I know, I do like Lawrence a lot rest of the season. I think he'll be great, but I can't drop Fields or Watson right now. So, I'm dropping Lawrence.
I mean,
if I have to drop one.
I like Lawrence as a streamer, not as a no doubt must start. And of course, you got to love him this week. But do you love him over Justin Fields if he plays? Of course not.
No.
Now, if you had to choose between Lawrence and Watson this week, that's closer. But obviously, that's not going to matter. I would just keep Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Agree with this comment? Yes. Smash the like, hit subscribe. I already mentioned this, by the way. We're almost an hour in, so this is a good time to remind you. We do have a Patreon if you want to support us that way as well. See the link right there scrolling below. And we do a start-sit session. Also, we talk trades, talk waivers, we talk everything on Sunday mornings, 2 hours before kickoff every week of the football season, plus other things, including weekly rankings that will be posted for our patrons right after the show ends. Okay, let's keep going here. We got a J.K. Dobbins question.
I mean, it depends who you're dropping. I'm just going to say right now, I'm not picking up J.K. Dobbins. I wasn't on J.K. Dobbins all draft season. I wasn't on him when he was finally going to come back. I finally got suckered into it and played him 1 week, regretted it. Because, look, that first game he came back, he scored 2 touchdowns. Nobody really, everybody's kind of ignored the fact that he really didn't do a whole lot, but he scored 2 touchdowns. But he didn't really do a whole lot else. I got suckered in. I played him. Regretted it. Not regretting it again. Because I'm never going to pick him up again this year. Because we're talking about a guy who had a terrible knee injury, came back, messed up the knee, had to have a procedure done. No, I'm good without J.K. Dobbins. I'm fine without him. But look, if you're dropping Tyler Boyd, then sure, go for it. Or somebody you're never going to play, go for it.
I would be shocked if you did pick up J.K. Dobbins because if anyone was sounding alarm and don't draft J.K. Dobbins, it was you. And other than that one game, you weren't very happy with your draft pick being burned. If you picked up J.K. Dobbins, if you added him, look, if you have a room and you want to take a shot, a dart throw, it's okay. You can pick him up, but only if you're not dropping somebody of actual value.
Yeah.
So also mentioned that Gus Edwards is back and he looked pretty good. This could turn into an ugly 3-man committee as always. Again, lead rusher for Baltimore will always be Lamar Jackson as well. So speaking of Gus Edwards, here's where we get deep, getting in the muck. Gus Edwards, Kyron Williams, or Zonovan Knight. This is a 14-man league.
I mean, if you're looking for somebody to stream this week, I go with Zonovan Knight because he looked pretty good. I like the matchup for the Jets this week. It's hard to it would be. I mean, look, it's the Jets. Who knows? They'll do whatever. But it would be really weird to like make James Robinson a healthy scratch, and then like for no reason, like the only reason we've heard is like if he gets 275 yards, then they're like the 6th round pick they gave up becomes a 5th. It's not like we're hearing this isn't like Elijah Moore. This isn't like Elijah Moore when he was complaining or whatever. Like we haven't heard any other reason why they benched him, right? No other reason. So it'd be really weird to like bench a guy for no reason and then activate him again the next week. It's like, okay, well, why did you do that? So I do think Zonovan Knight this week is the lead back in a good matchup, and he looked good. He's a good pass catching back. If I had to prioritize, it would be him.
I mean, I wish I could just say it's Knight because I know he'll be the lead back. I mean, look, if I knew James Robinson and Michael Carter weren't playing, yes, I go Knight. Right now, I have to lean Gus Edwards because he is clearly the lead back. So this week, I am going to say Gus Edwards. Rest of the season, Knight might be more interesting because, again, J.K. Dobbins is coming back. And then all of a sudden, Gus Edwards doesn't have as much value. So I think right now I still have to lean Edwards. But Knight is definitely the more intriguing ad. That's all we know right now. That's the problem. Okay, we have Super Chat. Thank you, Tomboy Respecter. Respect that. Should I start Mike Williams if he's healthy? We know the risk there. Or would you just go with Slayton, Gallup, or Cooks?
So when our wide receiver video drops tomorrow morning, we actually have differing opinions on this, Pierre and I. But I will say, if your options are Slayton, Gallup, or Brandon Cooks, I'm just going to roll with Mike Williams. And you know what? If he gets hurt on the first catch again, oh well. You know what I mean? Like, it's the Raiders. It's a great matchup. If they say he's healthy, it's not like Gallup, Cooks, definitely not. Slayton, okay, maybe. But, I mean, really, there's risk with Slayton, too, right? It's not like Slayton's a slam dunk, can't miss. So, with these your options, if Mike Williams is healthy, I'm just going to go with Mike Williams.
I mean, just right now, if you're going to set your lineup and pretend that you're not allowed to touch it again until the week is over, I just still don't see enough upside with Gallup, so I wouldn't go with him. Yeah. I liked Slayton a lot the last couple of weeks. Don't like him as much this week, believe it or not, against Washington, because remember when we were dying to stream against that Washington defense? Well, not anymore. They're slowing the game down. Their defense has gotten a lot better. So even though Slayton is the guy there, I don't think his upside is going to match Mike Williams. And Brandon Cooks, like, just no. Just no thanks.
Yeah.
So in this scenario with those options, if Mike Williams is playing, I'll go Mike Williams. There was a question earlier, and let me go back before we get to the next super chat because I thought this was a good one. There we go. Richard wants to know Christian Watson or Gabe Davis.
Well, I don't want to spoil the video tomorrow, but I guess we'll spoil the video tomorrow. We both have Gabe Davis as a sit this week, and we both have Christian Watson as a start. So there you go.
I mean, again, you don't want to go, well, he didn't smash last week. How many times has Gabe Davis smashed, honestly? He's not getting that target share that people were hoping for. It's pretty clear Christian Watson is. I think it's got to be Watson. And then we got Raw WB. Bellinger or Jelani Woods? Yeah, we were last night. Chris was like, I guess it's Jelani Woods night. And I was like, are you sure? He's like, yes.
Actually, it ended up being Michael Pittman night, of course. But Jelani Woods did have a nice night, that's for sure. I mean, I did see something today where Bellinger said the double vision is gone. He's feeling pretty good, but I don't know if that means he's going to play this week. So if you're looking for somebody this week, I think it's got to be Woods, only because we know he's healthy and he'll play. But look, we saw this earlier in the year. Remember, like week 1, it was like Mo Ali, like some, or Grayson had like 2 touchdowns, and the next week Jelani Woods had like 2 touchdowns, and the next week Mo Ali Cox had 2 touchdowns, and then we never saw from a tight end again until week 12. So don't get your hopes up that Jelani Woods suddenly broke out and he's going to be like an every week savior, because we've seen this before with this team. So, but at least we know he's on the field and playing. So I would go him.
Yeah. Early in the season, it looked like Woods might be a great pickup and rookie breakout. And but yeah, I got to see Bellinger. playing and effective. I mentioned him as a stash a couple weeks ago, and that's fine, but I would go Woods right now. I don't expect much from Woods, but at least, like you said, at least he's on the field. Can you drop Kenyon Drake? Yes, definitely.
Drake's a guy you can drop for almost anybody, even J.K. Dobbins.
Yes. Even J.K. Dobbins. All right. And then, okay, same user, different question. What order do you put these guys? So kind of some guys we talked about. Knight, Jalen Warren, Benny Snell, and JaMychal Hasty.
I would go Jalen Warren number one because, look, of anybody, I hope more than anybody that Najee is fine and he plays this week. But if he's not, and if he's out for the season, Jalen Warren's going to be like an every week RB2. He is. Knight's a good streamer this week if Carter and James Robinson are out again. But I mean, Carter probably going to be back. Snell, Hasty, just a handcuff. So I would go Warren, Knight, Snell. Probably Snell over Hasty because, again, you got to remember Jacksonville now has Darrell Henderson too. So I'd probably go Warren, Knight, Snell, Hasty if I had to prioritize.
Yeah, got to be Warren. Look, the guy with the best possible path, opportunity, potential, because we don't know, obviously, is to touch is Jalen Warren. So Jalen Warren, I think, has got to be number one, most upside potential. Knight 2, because there's still going to be somebody splitting touches with him. It's not like this is a great rushing offense anyways. But yeah, I go Knight 2, I go Hasty 3, and then I go Snell last just because, I mean, it's Benny Snell. All right, we got healing meditation. Who wins? Henry and Olave for Cook and St. Brown?
I'm going to say Cook and St. Brown. I do like Henry a lot. Again, we both these guys in our playoff running backs video that you'll have to check back on. I think it's going to come out Friday, I think. But I think St. Brown is a big enough of an upgrade over Olave to make up the difference. And Cook actually does have a pretty good playoff schedule. So I'm going to take the Cook and St. Brown side.
I mean, if there's one player I'd like to have out of the group, it's Henry. But you're getting Cook. It's not a big drop off there. You're getting the sun god. I mean, I wish we could say more, positive things about Olave's fantasy potential, but again, this Saints offense is getting worse. I'll take the guy who's going to be pretty much a wide receiver 1, probably rest of the season, and then you still get an RB1. So I know you don't want to trade Derrick Henry, but you're getting 2 studs basically for 1 and I guess 1.5. I don't know. So yeah, I'll prefer the Cook St. Brown side. All right, a couple more super chats, but first let's do some quickies here. Can you drop Van Jefferson for Zay Jones?
I would definitely. Like, look, Kupp probably out for the season. Allen Robinson out for the season. Aaron Donald now dealing with a high ankle sprain. I mean, this team, like, I don't think we're going to see Stafford the rest of the season. You really want Van Jefferson with, either John Wolford or Bryce Perkins? No, give me Zay Jones with T-Law. He's playing great. Zay Jones looks great. They have a great rest of the season schedule. Definitely give me Zay Jones.
Yeah, I would bet large amounts of money that Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey are both shut down mysteriously with some sort of injury at some point the rest of the season. It's already in the works, which is odd that a team is like tanking when they don't have a first round pick. Anyway.
They're tanking by necessity because they're just that bad. They don't have a choice. They're like, we don't have a choice.
Well, hey guys, you know what? Just start your vacation now.
Yeah.
Steady Vic. Can you start Dallas D rest of the season?
I mean, I would say yes, but I haven't looked at the matchups. Like, I'm not starting any defense against like the Chiefs or the Bengals or the Bills. Like, I know Joe Burrow will take sacks. I know Josh Allen will throw interceptions. Mahomes, no, you don't want to start against Mahomes. He's an alien. So I haven't looked at their schedule. Let's see.
Okay, well, this week I actually might have them as the top defense or one of the top defenses. You get Indy, then you get
definitely
Houston.
start against Indy. Definitely start against
Houston in week 14. You get
I'm not scared.
Jacksonville in
I'm
week
not scared of
15.
Jackson. I'm not scared of Jacksonville. I would start him against Jacksonville still.
Here's the
Philly's
problem. Week 16, you
Philly's
get
close.
Philadelphia.
That's the close one because the problem with Philadelphia is you can't bank on a ton of sacks with Jalen Hurts because it's hard to sack Jalen Hurts. He's so mobile. Like, sure, he might throw an interception, but that's it. So, I mean, I would definitely start him against Tennessee in week 17. So I think maybe the 1 week I wouldn't is week 16 against Philly. But I would start him every other week.
Yeah. I mean, even against Philly, obviously not as much sack potential there, but it just depends. I mean, who are your other options that could be available? I would just keep rolling with them for now. And then you can pivot last minute if you need to, week 16, if you have a good option like a Tennessee or something. And then Sarp Erden has been very active in the chat. Let's answer this for him. My friend has Kelsey and Mahomes. Would you do, this is looking like a spicy one, Josh Jacobs, Tua, Waddle, and Njoku for Mahomes and Kelsey?
No, this is a huge overpay. I mean,
it's too much.
Yeah, this is way too much. I mean, you got to like Njoku again, especially with Deshaun Watson there now. Jacobs is a stud. Waddle's a stud. Yeah, that's a huge overpay. Huge overpay. Keep what you got.
Yeah, again, Jacobs is a man on a mission to get paid.
Yes.
You're going to start him no matter what. Stud RB. Jalen Waddle still a stud receiver. And you're fine. I really like Njoku at a tight end rest of the season. It's not like you're getting this as mass. I mean, yeah, obviously Travis Kelce, right? But it's not like you have this massive drop off. You know, you're some scrub at tight end. So that's too much. All right, Juanello. All right. Awesome. Thank you. So let's solve these problems. Should you drop Mostert and look for somebody off waivers or hold him? Do you think Mostert is worth holding? Get rid of Demarcus Robinson. Yes, you can definitely do that.
Yeah, between the two, I would drop Demarcus Robinson because at least we know with Mostert, if something happens to Jeff Wilson, he basically is going to have to be the guy now. Whereas Demarcus Robinson, you're never going to feel good starting them. Like, he'll have a game like he had a couple weeks ago where you're like, oh my gosh, Demarcus Robinson. And then the next week he'll do nothing and you'll lose and be eliminated in the fantasy playoffs. So I would, between the two, I'm dropping Robinson fairly easily.
I kind of complained about this a couple days ago because I took a shot. I said, I tried Demarcus Robinson. He had that big game. Maybe they're going to go to him more. And of course, they didn't. They threw it to him like 2 times. This offense looks like they're just trying anything. Like last week it was, hey, let's get the third string tight end involved, Josh Oliver. They're just mixing and matching. They're like throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. And so, nah.
I wish they would just target Mark Andrews like Kelsey. Like, just be like, you know what? He's our number one. Throw it to him 15 times a game. Who cares?
At least you know that works. I mean,
yeah.
All right. And so then we have Ben lost to the guy who had Josh Jacobs.
Yep, that hurts.
Been there.
Nothing you can do about that.
Times. All right. So you lost in a playoffs already?
Wait, your playoffs already started?
That's pretty early.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's really brutal. Like, get eliminated in week 12 because the other guy had Josh Jacobs. Like, yeah,
that was a way early playoff. I don't know if you're like even if you're in a 16-team league, I don't know why you need to start this early. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
All right. Alaska Moose Dog. Pirine, Pacheco, or Kamara?
Well, if we're talking this week, definitely not Kamara. If Mixon is out, I prefer Pirine over Pacheco. But if Mixon plays, then you got to go Pacheco.
Right. That's the big if. Mixon, we know it's concussion. Protocol can be tricky. It's either 1 or 2 weeks. Haven't heard anything about like any setbacks or any big concerns. Say he's making progress, but still up in the air. Who knows, right? I guess right now we say it's 50-50 Mixon plays, but I would say if I had to pick right now, I'll just say Pacheco. And if Mixon is out, then I go to Pirine also. You know, Pirine definitely is catching passes. That's one thing Pacheco isn't really doing. But Pacheco has looked really good on the ground. That's the thing. But it's also not a great matchup for Pacheco. Okay. We got now George Brennan. Flex, Christian Watson, Montgomery, or White.
Oh,
What
man.
order do you like them?
It's so hard to sit Christian Watson right now, but also, how are you going to sit David Montgomery against the Packers? After what we just saw from Miles Sanders, man, like they're tackling. You can't even call it tackling. It's like, yeah. Oh, man. I think, look, if it's I know it's hard to bench Christian Watson right now. I get it. But if it's my team, I'm going Montgomery. It's too good of a matchup. We know he's getting 15 plus carries. He's catching 3 plus passes against a defense that can't tackle anybody, can't stop running backs. I'm going Montgomery, as hard as it is to bench Watson.
Does my question, does Justin Fields playing or not playing sway you in either way, or you still think Montgomery is the guy?
I still think, Montgomery will still get enough again. I mean, look, Jalen Hurts ran for almost 200 yards last night or Sunday night, and it didn't matter. Miles Sanders still ran all over this defense. It doesn't matter. There's enough for both of them. This Green Bay Packers defense, the run defense is so bad. So bad. Yeah. I know. Look, I have Watson. And I'm trying to I have Watson, but not in the same league where I have Montgomery. And I'm trying to think like, okay, if I had Montgomery and I had to flex one of them, would I be able to bench Watson? And I think I could. It would pain me. But look, let's not forget, Watson was doing nothing in that game. It looked like, okay, it was over. This run is over. The hot streak is finally over. And then Jordan Love came in, hit him on that crosser, and he took it to the house. Like, it wasn't like Christian Watson went out there and, like, was dominating the game start to finish. It was very close to him doing nothing in that game. It's going to happen at some point. I don't know. I get it. It's tough, but I'm going Montgomery personally.
Yeah, I mean, obviously hard to bench Watson, but that's the thing. It's like, it's funny, but now Aaron Rodgers saying, yeah, he's going to play, almost makes me feel worse about Watson, because it wasn't until Jordan Love came in that Watson did something. And if he's, broken thumb, broken ribs, who knows? Like, I know it is really hard, but you got to like Montgomery. So, look, you says that you are 6-6 in the playoffs for sure. Well, that's a good feeling.
That comeback from 1-5. Well done. That's awesome. From 1-5. That is awesome.
Glad we were able to help. And then
take the championship. You will never forget that you went 1-5 and won the championship.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, now Ben clarifies. He said the playoffs don't start yet, but I guess now he's out of the playoffs because his record is behind the guy he just lost to.
Well, and the playoffs start next week, so man, that's tough. But
so he eliminated you from the playoffs before they start.
Well, that's tough. It happens.
The best team does not always win. That is for sure.
I mean, the other guy has a guy go for 50 points. You're gonna lose. Like, this is just, you're just gonna lose. You're gonna lose.
Like, I'm forever gonna have PTSD from last year in the championship, where yes, I lost to a team that had Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. So I basically lost to 2 players, despite being the top seed. It happens. Jorge Dominguez is 9-3. All right. Definitely want to get a championship in that league. For this week, who should you start? Zeke, Pollard, or Rachaad White?
Well, again, this comes down to Leonard Fournette. If Leonard Fournette is out, definitely going Rachaad White here. If Leonard Fournette plays, though, it's like, and I don't know if you've seen our running back start sit video yet. It's out, so go check it out when we're done here. But we pretty much have these guys like neck and neck. Like, these are both guys you can start. You don't have to start, but you can start. They both have upside in different ways, right? Like Zeke, fall into the end zone. Pollard, break off a big run or a big catch. But they both also have like kind of downside, like we saw with Pollard last week, or we see with Zeke doesn't score. So I don't know. If it's me, I'm probably going Pollard.
Yeah. Again, if Lenny doesn't play at all, just go White. That's an easy solution. But if not, I do lean Pollard a little bit more. Austin wants to know. Oh, okay. This seems like an overpay. Trade Kelsey for CMC and Mike Evans.
I mean, if you're getting CMC and Evans, I feel like you have to say yes to that. I mean, I know Evans hasn't been great, but still, I mean, unless you're gonna have to go to the waiver wire and grab Jelani Woods or somebody like that to be your every week tight end. Then maybe I don't. Because that's too big of a drop at tight end. But assuming there's somebody halfway decent, like out there on the waiver wire, or you can stream, it feels like too good of an offer for Kelsey. I think you got to say yes.
Feels like you're buying low then on a pair of studs. CMC. Yeah. I mean, I know people are worried about the knee. Look, obviously you could get snake bit here if CMC misses time. And you're screwed here. But if not, you could have one of the best running backs in the league and what's the worst Mike Evans? People are, he had such a terrible game. What's the worst Mike Evans is going the rest of the season? Top 20 receivers still? I mean, come on. He's not going to just be a total dud.
Yeah, worst top 20.
So I would do it. I don't know how long you can wait to make this trade go through. Like, if you can wait till the end of the week to see what CMC's status is, if he's good to go, take it and run. But it kind of depends there. All right. I'm a sucker for these names. We have Spider Fries. That's an interesting avatar too.
Yeah.
All right. I have Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Fields in the same league. I wonder if it's a super flex. If not, then you got to trade somebody. RB capital is lacking, and you don't need 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
What do you do? So he's asking who should he trade and who for. So, okay, you got those 3 quarterbacks. Which ones are you trading?
I mean, any of them, honestly. If I'm getting back a running back that I'm going to play every single week, I'll trade whichever one. Like, I don't care. Like, if I gotta roll with Deshaun, I'll roll with Deshaun. If I gotta roll with Lamar, I'll roll with Lamar. If I gotta roll with Fields, I'll roll with Fields. Like, to get a running back that you absolutely need, who will be in your lineup every single week and help you, is worth more than any quarterback on your bench. Like, any quarterback on your bench, because guess how many points that quarterback is scoring for you? 0. You're getting that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good they are. You're getting nothing from them. So, look, I don't know how your league works, but if you guys are active, like in your chat or in your message, like a lot of the leagues, like a lot of our endgame leagues, if you post on there that you're trying to trade a player, you will get offers. Like, offers will come in. So if your league is like that, I would just go into the chat and say, hey guys, I'm willing to move any one of my quarterbacks for a running back. If you need a quarterback, send me some offers, and then get the dialogue going. Like, so people are going to lowball you. They're going to send you I don't know, Latavius Murray for Lamar Jackson, some ridiculous trade like that. But at least it opens the door. Now you can say, okay, now I know this player wants Lamar Jackson. Now you can go counter. You can say, okay, look at their team, look at who they have, and make a counter. That's what I suggest.
Yeah, so what I do is I throw a little bait out. So what you do is, if your league has a trading block, go ahead and at the exact same time put all 3 of them on the trade block. Yeah. And then you wait. Mm-hmm. And then you see if you get any bites. See who makes an offer, see who approaches you, and see if anything happens. After, if you want to wait a few hours or maybe a day, depending how active they are, then you post that message, exactly what Chris said, and then you take it from there, because you don't know how people value them. Like, right now, there could be somebody crazy just dying to get Deshaun Watson. Like, he's back. Look, I'm going to buy low. This is a guy that's going to be dominant down the stretch. Yep. You could have someone who's like, Justin Fields is the QB1. Why you have him on your bench? And there could be someone who's like, oh, Lamar Jackson, I'm buying low on him because he's struggling. You don't know. So It really doesn't matter. If I was going to trade away one, I would probably trade away Watson. That would be my preference. If I could keep one, I think I'd probably have to keep Lamar, because there's just too much risk with Fields, the injury, and the Bears, being out of it. They might just say, we'll rest him. So that's how I feel. All right, let's go to EA with the super chat. Thank you. Jamal or Monty in the flex?
Definitely Monty for me this week. I know Jamal, he definitely has touchdown upside this week against Jacksonville, but we saw it last week and we've seen it this year. Like, even he scored last week and gave you nothing. Like, he just gives you nothing outside of touchdowns. Like, sure, you can have that 2 touchdown or 3 touchdown game, and then you're like, I'm the smartest player in the world. I started Jamal Williams. But Monty, like, he has touchdown upside this week too against Green Bay and has a way higher floor and will get targets. It's got to be Monty.
Yeah, like if you're in a standard league and say, well, just go with a guy who's scoring touchdowns, go with Jamal. But probably if you're half or full PPR, I think it's got to be Monty this week. And then also, who do you like better, Zay Jones or Zonovan Knight? Which is he?
I got to go Zay Jones because, again, like, there's no risk of Zay Jones's role changing. Like, we don't know. We don't even know if Knight's going to be the starter this week. We don't know if he's going to be the starter next week. We don't know. And Zay Jones has looked great. He's the clear number 2, or maybe even like 1B, like 1A and 1B with Christian Kirk. So definitely Zay Jones.
Go with Zay Jones for sure. Especially, again, you need a flex. This is a great week to flex him out going against the Lions. We'll see if Trevor Lawrence goes back to him as much as he has been. The Pack King also has a Zay Jones question, although it's Jay Zones. That was intentional. All right, so Zones or Pickens or Elliott or Pacheco off the waiver wire.
Wow, all these guys are on waiver wire? Pick 2.
Or Latavius Murray.
No, definitely not Murray out of those guys. I think I'm definitely going Pacheco.
Yeah, that was my first.
And then it's close for me between Pickens and Zay Jones. But, I think I'm going to go Pickens. Simply because, I mean, you look at this Steelers, like, you look at their rest of the season schedule, like, Pickens already doing decent with 2 tough matchups. From now till the end of the season, they get Atlanta, Baltimore, Carolina, the Raiders, and Baltimore again. Those are all bottom 10, and a lot of them are bottom 5 pass defenses. Like, it's all smash matchups from now until the fantasy championship. So I'll gamble on Pickett being good enough for Pickens, and now that they have great matchups, it coming to fruition. I just like Pickens' upside potential. So I'm going to go Pacheco and Pickens.
Yeah, Pacheco was definitely my first instinct there. And then the thing is, you tend to say, well, Jones, because of the matchup this week. We'll look at Pickens' matchup against Atlanta in the same week, so that cancels it out, and I feel better about Pickens. So, I don't love that I saw Deontay Johnson get more targets, last night, but I'm still not too worried. I mean, those guys are still kind of pretty even. So, yep, I'm going to agree. Go Pickens and Pacheco. And I hope you do win those last 2 games. Definitely want to see you in the postseason.
Yeah, do it.
AJ A. Drop Higbee for who? Foster Moreau, Kmet, or Juwan Johnson?
Man, I mean, if Fields is playing, I would definitely say Kmet, but like as we saw last week, you don't want to play Kmet with Trevor Siemian. This is like
right.
This is like early season Bears offense with Trevor Siemian. You want no part of it. It's close between Foster and Juwan Johnson. Who do the Saints play this week again? Oh, they play the Bucs. That's right. Tampa Bay actually has been pretty bad against tight ends this year. I'm gonna go Johnson.
I always, when you're talking about basically a streaming tight end, what do we always say? Who has the best chance to get in the end zone, right? Because you're not counting on a huge target share for any of these guys, huge yardage. Juwan Johnson keeps getting targeted in the end zone, even if he didn't score, every week the past 5 weeks. He's still getting targeted there. Not a lot of weapons. The run game should get shut down in this matchup. I'll go Juwan Johnson. And what is up to Joe? Joe McHenry.
What's up, Joe?
Always with us. See you on Sunday morning again, we hope. All right, so with Etienne, possibly hurt. I mean, he should play, but should I grab Knight from the waiver wire or just roll with Ramondre and White?
I mean, I don't think I would play Knight over White, even with Lenny playing. So I wouldn't rush out to grab Knight, because you're worried about Etienne. Now, if he's the best guy available on the waiver wire, and like you have somebody on your bench, like I said, like Tyler Boyd or Kenyon Drake, then yeah, go for it. But I wouldn't be rushing out to pick up Knight because you're worried about Etienne. Because look, we both love Ramondre this week. Even with Leonard Fournette, White should still be fine. I don't think Knight will be any better than Rashad White with Leonard Fournette. So, yeah.
Yeah. Etienne, it sounds like he's going to play. And then, with those options that you have, I mean, you could grab Knight, but only if you're dropping somebody that you don't need. So, no, I think you're good. I wouldn't worry about grabbing Knight because I don't see him cracking your lineup, honestly. All right. I'm interested in this one because someone posted a trade offer and immediately I heard someone with a capital no, don't do that. So I'm curious what it is. Trade Chase and CD for Waddle, Evans, and Montgomery.
I don't know if this is a capital no for me, but it's a no. I think you're giving up two. Like, I prefer Chase and CD over Waddle and well over Evans. So you're giving up two, top like 6-ish wide receivers for like a top 10 wide receiver. And then, I don't know, Evans maybe like a top 15 wide receiver. And then like a higher end RB2. Give me the two studs. Give me the two studs, Chase and CD.
Yeah, you're downgrading. Not a lot, obviously, but slightly at both receiver positions, so you can add David Montgomery. Like if that name was like Kenneth Walker, Dalvin Cook, okay, then maybe you could talk me into it. But nah, I don't think this is enough. So, yeah, no, don't do that. All right, let's see. Pierce or Latavius Murray? It's actually a fair question.
Are we talking about start sit or off the waiver wire? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, but
I'm guessing start sit.
If it start sit, I'm going Pierce this week. I mean, they're both kind of the same guy, except Pierce is real life better. But I mean, they're both kind of like the same guy as far as for fantasy. They're not going to catch a lot of passes. They're in bad offenses. But Pierce is going against Cleveland this week. I mean, you have to I know. I got it. I have Pierce in a league, and it's really hard to put him in my lineup, but I'm going to do it because it's Cleveland. It's Cleveland. Like, look, if he bombs against Cleveland, I'm out. I'm completely out on Pierce rest of the season. No doubt about it. But I'm giving him another chance this week.
And that's why I say, look, I'm going to give Pierce a shot this week because it's such a good spot. Let's see it. Do something. Just do something. He's got a great opportunity, but if it doesn't happen, then you can say, just forget it. Go with Murray or somebody else. But this week, I think you have to keep Pierce in there, especially if your other option is Latavius Murray. And then Watson or Lawrence. Close one.
Well, if we're talking about this week, honestly, even rest. I know we had the other question where I said I would drop Trevor Lawrence. I don't know. I might keep Trevor Lawrence over Watson, but definitely this week I'm going Trevor Lawrence. It's a great matchup for him. He's playing great. Like, I don't know if you saw our skyrocketing video this morning, but Trevor Lawrence, since week 9, is the QB 10 on the season. Trevor Lawrence had a bye week during that stretch. That means he's played 3 games and he's a QB 10 right now. He's averaging over 20 points per game in that stretch. And it's Detroit. Like, got to go Lawrence this week.
I'm going to take advantage of that matchup. There's still a lot of uncertainties with Deshaun Watson. Is he going to be rusty? Probably. Is he going to get rattled because of the way he's going to get harassed, both going in and out of the stadium and during the game? You say, he's a guy, a professional. He's not going to affect him. Of course it's going to affect him. Of course it is. So I don't think he's going to be a total bomb, but I would just go with Lawrence. I feel pretty good about him. And Joe with another question. Ravens D or Jets D this week and then rest of the season? I mean, look,
I know
Ravens D got exposed last week.
Let's see. I don't remember who the Jets play this week.
Oh,
Minnesota,
look, I mean, come on. The Ravens get Denver.
gotta be the Ravens.
It's gotta be the Ravens this week. But rest of the season, I would go Jets.
Yeah, rest of the season Jets, but this week's gotta be Ravens. Like, you can't be scared. Like Minnesota, like sure, Kirk Cousins might throw an interception, he might take some sacks, but they also could put up 30 points, even against the Jets. And it's in Minnesota. It's in the dome. Cousins always plays great in that dome. Yeah, gotta be the Ravens.
Yeah, definitely this week, but I'll go Jets rest of the season. All right, welcome back, George Plementris.
Thank you,
George. So much again. 10-2. The bye is under wraps. Love to see that. Okay, so let's see what the team is. Hurts, getting Etienne back. That's a good thing. Walker, JJ Hill, Moreau, and then Flexen Cooper. Very solid. All right, bench. If that's Eli Mitchell, well, you can drop him.
Yeah, if that's Eli Mitchell, you can drop him. It looks like 6 to 8 weeks. They're saying that's done. Done for fantasy. Best case, he'd be back like in the wild card round or the divisional round or something. They're saying, yeah, that's real. That's real life playoffs, not the fantasy playoffs. The real life.
No, he's done for the regular season. So bench Mitchell. Don't stash him. Hopefully, you don't have to drop Najee. Don't drop him yet. Okay, but you got a good upside on your bench too. Drop Mitchell, yes. Williams, Jameson Williams, I guess is on IR. Okay, so he's asking for stashes. All right, okay. Drop Mitchell, yes. Had Dobbins, sure. Madison, yes.
Yes, definitely
what about
drop
Waller. Would you rather have on the IR Jameson Williams or Darren Waller?
Where is this tight end? Who is this tight end? Moreau. He's got Moreau and Everett. No. I'm not even that high on Jameson Williams, but I'm way not high on Waller.
I have no interest in Waller, honestly. I'd rather take a shot on Jameson Williams doing something, but I'd rather have Everett, in my lineup instead of Waller.
Yeah, I would drop Mitchell for Madison, definitely. Madison, if anybody listening right now, if you're a team locked into the playoffs and you have any space on your roster, you have anybody in your roster just sitting there that you're never going to start. I don't care if they're like a good player, like Deontay Johnson, somebody like that, who you're never going to put in your lineup. Go get Madison now because he's the type of guy that can absolutely change your team. He could change your team. If Dalvin Cook goes down, your team gets so much better. So anyways, little side rant there. Yes, definitely drop Mitchell for Madison. Madison should be rostered everywhere right now. He should not be on any waiver wire. Anyway. And then I would, but you got Williams in IR, so you don't have to drop Williams.
Right, unless you're getting somebody else for the IR. That's why I guess it would be Waller, but
yeah.
I wouldn't.
But I would also like to add Warren because you have Najee. I would like to add Warren. Look, you have Jalen Hurts. I know you don't want somebody else to get Fields, but you're never going to start Fields. You have Jalen Hurts. And look, maybe I don't know. I get you don't really want somebody else to grab him.
Yeah, you can't drop Fields, I don't think.
I know, but I would really hate to not have Warren, and then we get the bad news that Najee has sports hernia and is having surgery and he's out for the season, and somebody else got Jalen Warren. And now you just allowed somebody else to have, a high upside RB2 rest of the season. And their team just got a lot better potentially.
Yeah. I don't feel
maybe
like Warren...
maybe you could drop Slayton for Warren because you got Jefferson, Hill, Cooper. You're never gonna play Slayton.
That's true. And there's probably somebody on waivers comparable to Slayton. I like Slayton, but I don't love Slayton. Look, I would say you definitely want Madison, but again, like a guy like Jalen Warren, that would be nice since you have Najee. But I would much rather have Madison. I don't feel like Warren has that kind of upside, even if Najee's out for the season. I don't feel like Jalen Warren is like a league winner, so I think he'd be fine. But I would say this: okay, don't drop Everett. Yes, drop Mitchell. I wouldn't drop Fields. I wouldn't drop Jameson. I would just keep him. So pick up Madison. We're not adding Dobbins.
No. I mean, if it was my team, I'm dropping Slayton for Warren. Like, if somebody else wants Slayton, okay, fine. Like, I don't think I'm going to lose because somebody else grabs Slayton.
Yeah, I think that's fine. All right.
But definitely Mitchell, and drop Mitchell for Madison. That's scary. Do that for sure.
All right, Chris KD, what's
up, Chris?
All right, couple questions. Schultz or Njoku this week for tight end? That's a good question.
That's actually pretty close, but like Schultz to me is a guy like I can't bench Schultz. He's just too good, and at least we know with Dak what we're getting from Schultz. Look, we don't know. I mean, I know everybody just thinks like, okay, Deshaun Watson, suddenly all the pass catchers get an upgrade. Maybe not though. Again, this guy has not played football in how long? He has not started the football game. He played one preseason game for like a quarter, and by the way, he looked terrible in that game. And now he's going to have to go to Houston. I'll bet you there's going to be people outside the hotel heckling him. There's talk that like some of his accusers are going to be there, like yelling at him. Like, this is not going to be like, welcome home, Deshaun Watson. No, this is quite the opposite. So I'm going to go Schultz this week.
Yeah, look, you'll find out I do really like Njoku this week, but not over one of those guys. I have Schultz kind of up there as a top 5 tight end, so I will go Schultz. And then for flex, we got a lot of options here. We have Cortland Sutton, Josh Palmer, Rachaad White, Isaiah Pacheco, DPJ, or Mike Williams.
Well, I'll say again, if Leonard Fournette is out, Rashaad's a must. Just a must. Just put him in your lineup. If Leonard Fournette plays and he sounds like he's okay and he's going to play, too many snaps, and Mike Williams is healthy, meaning like he practiced fully all week and he's good to go, then I'll go Mike Williams, because just those other guys like Sutton and Palmer, they're fine, but just no upside. DPJ, too risky. Pacheco, yeah, I like Pacheco, but he's in a tough spot again this week. Probably needs a touchdown. So that's how I'm playing it. Now, if Mike Williams doesn't play, then I'll go probably Pacheco.
Okay, so with Sutton, I'm not touching Denver players at all. Not an option. If Rachaad White has the backfield to himself, he's the play. Okay, not as much of a smash spot as last week. I don't care. I'm still playing him. If Mike Williams is playing and Leonard Fournette is playing, like you said, then I go Mike Williams. That's pretty much it. And then also he traded JT and Debo for Chase and Sanders. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think it's okay. You downgraded at running back, but you upgraded at wide receiver. It seems like a very fair deal to me. Like, I would rank JT and Chase very similarly as far as running back to wide receiver. And I would rank Debo and Miles Sanders very similarly as far as running back to wide receiver. So I think it's a very fair trade.
And I think it's funny. Debo and Sanders are kind of similar, the boom bust guys, right? They'll have their weeks and then they'll disappear sometimes. But yeah, I feel like that's a pretty even trade. So fine with it.
Very even.
All right, let's see. We got Bry.
All right.
Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson.
Again, another one where it's like you just don't want to bench Christian Watson, but can you bench Garrett Wilson against Minnesota? No. I don't think you can. Like, such a good matchup. He looks great. Mike White out there slinging the ball like he's, I don't know, Dan Marino. Just kidding.
There's only one Dan Marino. Okay, let's just get that straight.
No, but I mean, like, Garrett Wilson just looks so good, and it's such a good matchup against the Vikings. I think he has just as much upside as Watson without the risk. I'm going Garrett Wilson.
I'm going Garrett Wilson, and I'll just say this with that Green Bay Chicago game, signs point to it probably being more of a run-heavy game, script on both sides. It probably doesn't matter with Watson, right? He only needs one target, take it to the house. But Garrett Wilson has looked so good. I think he's definitely got the higher floor. and it's going to be a good spot for him. So unless Mike White just totally turns into a pumpkin like in the first quarter, he still won't be Zach Wilson. So I don't care. I'm going to play Garrett Wilson. All right, then Jay and Cortelu, welcome back. All right, so you got the number one priority here on waiver wire, looking for a running back, maybe a wide receiver. Got Henry, Kamara, White, and Patterson. Dropping Slayton and Campbell. Who to target? Well, depends who's out there.
You gotta let us know who's out there. I mean, if you're dropping Slayton, then there's somebody better than Slayton on your waiver wire. Then I mean, if that's the case, then I'm guessing there's some good players on your waiver wire. Maybe type down below. You don't have to super chat, of course. Just some of the top players on your waiver wire that you're thinking about adding.
Yeah, so like talking about running back, look, some of the guys, if you saw the waiver wire video, we've talked a little bit today about Zonovan Knight. Like, I wouldn't use number one priority on him. Brian Robinson might be out there. He was dropped by some leagues. Like Brian Robinson, obviously, is somebody you could be interested in. You can drop Paris Campbell for him, but depends if he's available. There's really not a lot of great wide receivers. Again, depends on your league. Some people might be interested in Chase Claypool. I'm really not, just because he's technically the number one receiver in Chicago.
Yeah,
I don't think that means much, so I wouldn't go after him. But yeah, let us know, like, if you can tell us who are some of the top guys available in your league, we can answer that a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty open to dropping Campbell. I'll be honest. Like there's a lot of guys I would pick up for Paris Campbell.
Right. And then also, I mentioned Elijah Moore. I could drop Campbell for him just for a shot, but I wouldn't drop Slayton for him.
No.
Okay, so let's Jen, get back to us if you can, if you want to throw out some names, and we'll tell you who we like best. All right, Luis Ortiz, Pierce, Rashad, or Ramondre. Non-PPR.
Still gotta go Ramondre. He's looked great. Again, unless Leonard Fournette is out. But even then, I'd probably still go Ramondre because it's a good matchup for him. I know, like, that's the thing. Like, it's like Pierce is the one guy who doesn't need receptions, but yeah. I got to go Ramondre.
Yeah. Ramondre is, I've been saying all season, he's pretty much high-end RB2. He keeps creeping up towards RB1 territory.
Yeah.
Look, Damian Harris, we know, is not playing this week, and so that kind of locks him in as the star running back. So because of that, I think you got to go Ramondre. Welcome back, Blair Davis, always with us as well. Do we drop Michael Carter for Zay Jones? He's got Henry, Chubb, Jeff Wilson.
I mean, I want to say yes, but it's like the thing about the Jets is they have such a good playoff schedule for running backs. And look, if James Robinson is going to continue to not be active and Michael Carter ends up being the lead back, in those matchups with check down king Mike White, because look, you got Henry and Chubb and Jeff Wilson, but are you going to feel good starting Jeff Wilson against the Patriots if something happens to Henry or Chubb? Probably not. So I don't know. I mean, it depends on your wide receivers. If you're really desperate at wide receiver, okay. But if you're good at wide receiver, I probably just hold Michael Carter.
Yeah, and like I know you've posted your team before. I don't remember exactly who you have, but again, I keep saying this. Zay Jones, great start this week. If he's somebody that you could flex and use as a streamer, sure. But if he's just kind of a stash for you, I'd probably rather have the RB depth, right? If Zay Jones is just a bench player for you, I'd rather have Carter, because even if Carter isn't playing this week or isn't a great start this week, he could have some value a couple of weeks from now. All right, and then rest of the season.
Oh, sorry.
There was another one here. I got it.
My bad. Put it back up. My bad.
Who should I drop and keep? We got too many quarterbacks here. Fields, Cousins, or Jimmy G?
I'm probably dropping Jimmy G. I'm dropping Jimmy G. Cousins has been good enough. to hold down the fort until Fields comes back.
And you have to keep Fields. You have to keep Fields for now. Hopefully he plays this week. If not, you can pivot to Cousins. You can drop Jimmy G. All right.
Yeah. And then we did get, here's who for the other super chat. Here's who's some of the guys on waiver wire. So remember, he's thinking about dropping Slayton and Campbell.
I see Burks on there. That's an interesting name for sure. I think you could drop Paris Campbell for Burks. And then,
I mean, I would drop Paris Campbell for Burks, Warren, Zay Jones, maybe even Gallup. Like Paris Campbell, like
yeah. No, I would drop Campbell and I would pick up Burks. And then I'm thinking, okay, Slayton was the other option. Would you add any of these guys over Slayton? Maybe Warren just to get that insurance policy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I would drop Campbell for Burks and Slayton for Warren for that potential high upside RB2.
And that's why it's good to ask these questions. Here's the thing is when you talk waivers, it all depends. It all depends.
Yes.
Every situation is different. Are you looking for a guy that you need to play this week? Like this week, who do I like best there? Well, I would like Gus Edwards, obviously better than Jalen Warren, but rest of the season, because again, a week, two, maybe J.K. Dobbins will be back, even if he's not good. He's still going to get touches. He's going to eat into Gus's workload. If Najee Harris is out for the season, you're going to be one Jalen Warren. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, you might even like Jalen Warren more this week if he plays and Najee misses this week because it's Atlanta.
Right.
It's Atlanta.
Well, but again, that's the thing. If we don't know, so you're taking the calculated risk here. Warren could have the most upside, but let's do that. Let's add Burks and then probably add Warren. Yeah. All right, and then Chris with another one, adding on to that trade. Okay, so if he does that trade, he would have Mahomes, KW, Cook, Chase, Evans, one of those tight ends, and then Mike Williams or whoever at flex.
So you have JT Walker and Dalvin Cook. You can afford to trade away one of those guys to get a stud like Chase. So yeah, it's a very fair trade. I still think it's a very fair trade. Probably helps both teams.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think you're good there. I think we know what Jamar Chase's upside is late in the season, so he's coming back. I think you're good. All right, and then if the Cowboys do get OBJ, does that affect Dalton Schultz? Not worried about it.
Yeah, not worried about OBJ. No.
I don't know if it'll affect much of anything.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if there's somebody it does affect, which doesn't really matter too much for fantasy, it would be Michael Gallup.
Yeah.
Noah Brown. That's about it. All right, Luis with another one. Got Lamb and D-Hop. Would you trade for DK or Keenan?
No, I think I prefer Lamb and D-Hop to both those guys, honestly. I mean, I was pretty nervous about D-Hop because I was like, look, they have Zach Ertz. They have Marquise Brown. They have Rondale Moore. How is DeAndre Hopkins going to be a target monster when he comes back? Well, what happened? Marquise Brown got hurt. Zach Ertz got hurt. Rondale Moore got hurt. Like, the stars are just aligned. Like there's just guys where sometimes the stars just align for them. Like, no matter what your process is, you're wrong because everything broke perfect for them. And it feels like everything is just breaking perfect for DeAndre Hopkins this year. So I would prefer Lamb and DeAndre Hopkins over both those guys.
And just saying non-PPR, I think that just makes Keenan probably number 4 out of this group.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you've got to like Lamb and D-Hop. I love me some DK, but not over those two guys in fantasy rest of this season. And then Blair, a little clarification here. We'll go back to his again. He's got Pittman, McLaurin, Gabe, and Hollywood.
So you're like okay at wide receiver, but you don't have a
not
stud.
Great. So again, adding Zay Jones. Do you start Zay Jones over those guys this week?
Well, Hollywood's out, and then I probably start him over Gabe Davis this week. But rest of the season, like you're just adding another guy who's a good but not a stud wide receiver. So when Hollywood comes back next week, like you're never benching Hollywood, you're never benching Pittman, and you're probably never benching McLaurin, probably. So yeah, I don't know. I just keep Michael Carter.
Yeah.
You know what? Honestly, drop Gabe Davis for Zay Jones if you want, because you might actually play Zay Jones this week. And Gabe Davis has done nothing. He's got a brutal rest of the season schedule. You're not going to want to start him in any matchup.
That's true.
At least Zay Jones, you'll play him this week. It's a great matchup for Zay Jones, and let somebody else deal with Gabe Davis.
Sad that
I mean, look, this is the time of year you got to be ruthless with your drops. You can't be holding on to guys that you're never going to play. It doesn't make sense to hold on to Gabe Davis and just sit him on your bench every week. If you can add somebody who can actually help your team.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. You always want to chase volume. Obviously, Zay Jones is getting it. Gabe Davis, and confirming 60 targets on the season, 60 targets, only 33 catches. It's not a great ratio there. Zay Jones this year has 79 targets and 58 catches. He has basically as many catches as Gabe has targets. Gabe can go for those long, catches, but you don't want to chase that. You can't count on that because we've seen more times than not doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess you could drop Gabe Davis there. All right. And then we have Allen 2 times. Watson or Geno, and then Kirk or Sutton.
This is actually close this week because it's not a great spot for Geno. I liked Geno a lot last week. It was a great spot. He did okay. Little nervous about Geno this week. Man. But do I really want to start Watson first game back in Houston? I probably still go Geno. I just feel a little bit safer about him.
I mean, at least you know what you can get from Geno. He's been, if nothing else, solid, pretty consistent, not the highest ceiling. Don't love the matchup. Definitely don't love the matchup, but should be pretty safe. So yeah, probably best to play safe. I mean, I don't know. I might have Watson ranks maybe like 1 spot higher. It's really close for me, but I get it. You just want to avoid that whole thing and just go Geno. And then Kirk or Sutton. I mean, if we're talking
one's easier, definitely Kirk. Definitely Kirk.
Definitely Kirk there. No doubt. All right. And then let's throw this one up here. Regular chat. Dominique Harris, been with us for a while. In need of running back for the bench, would you do Mariota and Jacoby Myers for Singletary?
I'm assuming this is a 1 QB league and Mariota is like just some QB you have on your bench. And yeah, this I mean, unless it's super flex and this is going to kill your QB depth, maybe not. But if it's 1 QB, yeah, Jacoby, like whatever. I mean, I'm not like super excited about Singletary, but if you really are desperate at running back, I'm fine giving up Jacoby for Singletary. Like what? You're not going to miss him.
It's kind of lateral move. You're just swapping a receiver for a running back. So sure, I would. Mariota to me is just like nothing, right? Non-existent unless it's super flex. If it's super flex, then no, don't do it. But if not, just get rid of Mariota. Yeah, you can do that. All right, and then Trigger Trey.
What's
drop
up?
Lazard for Traylon Burks.
Ooh, I can't do that. I mean, look, last week was a tough spot. Like, I don't think anybody expected Allen Lazard to have a big game. I think I said everywhere, don't start Allen Lazard. I'm not starting Allen Lazard. The week before against Tennessee, he didn't have a good game, but he still had 11 targets. He's still technically their number 1. I mean, I know Watson is coming, but they have a good rest of the season schedule. I don't know. I think I still hold Lazard.
It's pretty close. Very similar types of receivers. You gotta like Burks as the number 1 guy. He's coming on a little bit more, but I would hold off on dropping Lazard until we get some clarity. I mean, who knows? Maybe Aaron Rodgers does get shut down. Maybe Jordan Love takes over, and maybe that's bad for Lazard. And then in that case, you can do it, but you don't have to run out to add Burks just yet. I would wait a week and let's see how it plays out. All right, Chavi. 1 quarterback, start Fields, Watson, or Tua.
Well, I think if Fields plays, you got to play Fields. If not, I'm going Tua.
Right. In this case, with these options, I think it's safe to say not Watson.
Yeah.
Again, not a great spot for Tua, but he's still startable. And then, yeah, look at Fields plays, you're playing him. And then I'm wondering now, do you have all three of these quarterbacks on your roster, or is Watson
We're
like
getting
on?
a lot of questions with people with like 3 quarterbacks on their roster, and it's like,
Yeah,
why? Why do you
you're
have
the
3
one quarterback
quarterbacks?
league. You don't. And look,
Again,
I've been stashing Deshaun Watson. Well, if you have Fields, you didn't need to stash Deshaun
and not
Watson.
only that, you have Fields and Tua. You don't need to stash Watson. And like I said, guys, this is the time to get ruthless with your bench. Ruthless. Like, there's somebody on your bench like Jacoby Myers who's never going to be in your lineup. Drop Jacoby Myers and pick up like an Alexander Madison or something like that. Like, it's time to get ruthless. There's no point. Depth doesn't matter anymore. Unless you're fighting for the playoffs. If you're still fighting for that last seed and you need to win, okay. But if you're like, you have the bye or you're locked into like, you're making the playoffs, depth is very unimportant now. You need to get ruthless. You need to start grabbing guys who have the potential to alter your team significantly, like the Alexander Madisons, like the George Pickens, like the Traylon Burks, guys who could potentially have huge, down the stretch here, like those guys.
Upside wins matchups and wins championships. Those depth pieces, you can drop them if they're not starting in your lineup. Exactly. What worth are they to you? Take chances. All right, Rodney Woods, Pacheco, White, or Murray need 2, one for the RB2 and one for the flex. You got it, Derrick Henry, so you're good. And Schultz is a flex right now. Okay, so who do you like at RB2 here?
Well, I mean, again, if Lenny is out, I'm going White, like no questions asked. The guy played 90% of the snaps. He got 9 targets, 9 catches. He's almost matchup proof because we've seen with Tom Brady, the running back, whoever the running back is, kind of like with Leonard Fournette before, is going to get so many targets and receptions, kind of like Austin Eckler, right? Like, it doesn't matter who Austin Eckler plays because you're not playing Austin Eckler because to hope he runs for 100 yards. You're playing Austin Eckler for all those cheap receptions, and that's what we're going to get from Rachaad White. So if Lenny's out, White. But I'll say this, if you're looking for a running back in a flex, I'm playing Pacheco and White even if Lenny's back because I'm not playing Latavius Murray over those guys. I'm not.
Yeah, and Tony, no. I don't care if Tony comes back. I'll take Tony or Slayton because D-Hop is on a bye. So we go Slayton if you have to pick. Yeah. All right. Just so you know, about 2 hours in, we're going to keep going, try to answer as many questions as possible. A couple of reminders for those who joined us a little bit later on. First of all, thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
If we're helping you in any way or you're just enjoying watching, hit the like button, hit subscribe. We appreciate it. Hit the notification bell. We go live multiple times each week. And also, you're on notifications, then let you know as soon as a video drops and you get the latest information. Also, you might notice some people using the super chat feature. We're trying to answer as many of our comments as possible. The super chat is just a way to kind of get ahead of the line, guarantee that we answer your questions because it's not possible for us to answer all of them, even as long as we're on here. So that's something you can do. And of course, you can always consider becoming a patron to support us and all the perks that you get with it. Find out more information. You can go to patreon.com/fantasyfootballendgame. The link, once again, conveniently scrolling there right below as I talk about it. Okay, let's do a couple of quickies. The regular chat. Let's do Felicia, Hawkinson, or Njoku.
I got to go Hawkinson. I know our tight end video, our QB tight end video hasn't dropped yet, but spoiler alert, we're putting Hawkinson in the no doubt must start category. Ever since he's gone a minute, since he's been traded to Minnesota, he's the tight end 3. So you got to start Hawkinson.
A ton of targets. Yeah, he's a no doubter at this point. I really do like Njoku this week, but not over guys like Hawkinson, Schultz, obviously Andrews and Kelsey. Do you think this rise above anything? Welcome back. Always long in the chat here stays. I think he watches the entire thing. He's always like from start to finish and very active. Do you think Dak plays well this week against the Colts?
Yeah, I'm not worried about Dak. He's getting close to yes.
It's not a shutdown defense. You shouldn't be worried. Dak has been solid. Yeah. And then Brett Hagan, would you drop Pirine for somebody with Mixon coming back? It's not a guarantee that Mixon is coming back. I mean, definitely could, but it's not confirmed yet.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like always, it depends who you're dropping them for. I know they have a terrible playoff schedule. Yeah, I mean they do. They have a brutal playoff schedule. So if there's somebody if there's somebody better on waiver wire, absolutely you can do it.
I mean, I would say as soon as you know Mixon is back, then you can drop him. Look, I don't know who you're trying to chase on waivers. If you have somebody definitely worth adding, sure, you can just do that now. But only if it's one of those like priority ads. And then we got Steven McCater. Okay. Oh, maybe it's this one.
Okay.
Do I cut Julio Jones for AJ Dillon, Snell, Spiller, or Kyron Williams?
I mean, I would definitely cut him for AJ Dillon. I don't love AJ Dillon, but he does have a good matchup this week. And we know he's an Aaron Jones injury away from being at least, a startable RB2 type of guy. The other one, Spiller, Kyron Williams, nah. Especially now, Spiller, like Joshua Kelly back, he's kind of like not really involved again. He's going to need like multiple injuries to have a role. You don't want to bet on that. Kyron Williams with the Rams. I mean, yeah, it was nice, 70% of the snaps, caught 3 passes, but what is the upside on the Rams? There's no upside. So I would drop Julio Jones for AJ Dillon.
You can definitely drop Julio Jones.
Yeah.
It's got to be Dillon. Again, if it was like Jalen Warren instead of Benny Snell, then I might say him. But yeah, I was high Spiller potentially getting more involved. And then Josh Kelly came back conveniently. Yeah. And he's the RB2 apparently now. And I'm not touching any Rams or any Broncos. End of story. And I'll just add quickly that I am mad at AJ Dillon. Actually, no. I'm mad at myself because I benched AJ Dillon because I was like bent on not starting him because he had done nothing. And so I just picked up a scrub off waivers and started him instead. And I would have won if I had started AJ Dillon. So my own fault, I guess. Paolo wants to know DeAndre Swift or Latavius Murray in standard scoring.
Even in standard, I'm going Swift. I don't care. Like Murray just no. Like Swift can get as many points as Murray, even in standard. Like definitely give me Swift.
Yeah. Latavius Murray has scored some touchdowns, but I think I just said I'm not touching the Broncos. I mean, sure, if you're desperate, but look, Swift is scoring touchdowns at least 2. So even in standard, yes, we'll go Swift this week based on the matchup. And then we're at, let's see, Jeremy Cohen. Thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. PPR, would you go with Kenny Walker or T. Higgins at the flex?
These are your flex options. Wow. I got to go Higgins. Look, I like Kenneth Walker, but this is a tough matchup for him this week. And we saw last week, right? Like, he's not the kind of guy that's going to catch 4 or 5 passes to kind of bail him out when he doesn't, do a whole lot on the ground. He can always score like he did last week, but, you take out those 2 touchdowns, he's a pretty low floor. T. Higgins at home against the Chiefs, that game has 70 points written all over it, right? Both those teams could go over 30. It should be an absolute shootout, just a back and forth, high-scoring game. No way I can bench T. Higgins this week. No way. There's very few guys I would start over T. Higgins, and Kenneth Walker, sadly, is not one of them.
And I will just throw this out there, even though they say I don't know whether it's not expect, but are hopeful or anticipate, whatever. They think Jamar Chase is going to play. It is not guaranteed yet either. It's not written in stone, right? It's possible Jamar Chase has a setback or just isn't ready or whatever. But even so, I'm not benching T. Higgins. You can't, because this game should be a shootout. Look, the last 3 games, he's got 7, 9, and 7 catches. He's getting targeted a ton. Just because Jamar Chase comes back, it doesn't mean that's going to stop. He might get more targets because they have to throw the ball more in this game. So, I mean, you don't want to bench Kenny Walker, but I can for T. Higgins.
Yeah.
And then Luis Ortiz just wants to say thanks. 10-2.
Nice, congrats. All right, you're not done yet, though. That record won't matter without that championship. Keep working.
That's exactly right. Look, that's why, guys, honestly, you have to stay active. Trust me, we've been there. We've done that. You can coast into the playoffs with the number 1 seed all you want. doesn't matter. And I guarantee you there will be at least 1 or 2 players that are sitting on waivers right now that are going to score 20 plus points at some point in the fantasy playoffs. We don't know who it is yet. We think we know some of them, but I guarantee it'll happen. All right, Hunter Myers traded Foreman and Hawkinson for Najee.
Well,
bad timing.
Yeah, because he got hurt last night, unfortunately. I mean, if Najee was healthy, I would have said great deal. I would have said great deal for you. But now, I mean, there's, because you got Kelsey, so you obviously didn't need Hawkinson. But now there's real worry that Najee, I mean, let's just hope it's like a week or two and something minor. If it is, if he's back for the fantasy playoffs and healthy, then this will still be a good deal for you because he has a great playoff schedule. But very risky right now. Very risky.
Yeah, just bad timing. I mean, we'll see what happens with Najee. We haven't heard anything yet, right? Have we? Like either way, whether it's
Mike Tomlin's basically said like no update or had no update on him or something yet.
Okay. Oh, let's hope no news is good news, right? I mean, they haven't said it's season ending, so I guess the season hasn't over yet. But no, I mean, it didn't seem like it is to me, but you never know. So let's just cross our fingers and hope for the best.
Yes.
And then Jay Kang, thank you, appreciate that. Start 2, sit 2. We got Olave, Godwin, Keenan, and Jamal Williams.
I mean, I can pretty easily go Godwin and Keenan here.
Yeah.
Just think they're both going to smash this week. Like them both. I mean, I know Jamal can always have one of those stupid like 2 or 3 touchdown like games where he does nothing else. But outside of that, like no, Godwin and Keenan for sure.
Yeah, Godwin for sure, Keenan for sure. Well, I feel like I keep saying this. I wish I could be higher in Olave. Such a good player.
Yeah.
Man, that offense. And Andy Dalton just keeps regressing. Jameis Winston, I really hope that he is actually really hurt, and that's the only reason he's not playing. I mean, I don't hope he's hurt, but I hope that's the reason he's not playing, if that makes sense. Okay, and then NBA, you've heard of NBA Youngboy. What about NBA Crypto Boy?
All right.
Lamar or Watson this week, both tough matchups.
Yeah, but I'm still going to go Lamar. We saw it last week, he's got that upside. Like, I need to see Watson first before I put him in my lineup.
Yeah, going Lamar personally. He said he's going Lamar. Yeah. Don't blame you. Go Lamar. I do like that. So that's a little nice avatar there too. It actually matches my our black and purple here, which by the way, y'all see I always represent Bear Clothing. A shout out to my boy Corey, his clothing line. You want fantasy endgame merch, which we don't, I guess we don't advertise enough. But if you want a fantasy endgame shirt, guess what? You go to bearclothing.org and you can get them. T-shirts, we got sweatshirts, we have hats and something else. But anyways, check it out, Bear Clothing. Yep, bearclothing.org.
There you go.
All right, Chris, back for more. Let's do a defense question. Why not? Bucks versus Saints this week. Bucks versus Saints, Seahawks versus Rams, or Browns versus Texans.
First of all, thank you for putting the matchups in there because I don't always know. Like I can't. Like I always have to try. Like, who are the Bucks playing again? Who are they playing again? Man, it's close between the Seahawks and the Browns this week.
I mean, a lot of people streaming the Seahawks this week, and I don't blame. I mean, that offense.
Yeah.
How many points are they realistically going to score? 6?
They got 10 last week against the Chiefs. Yeah, I probably go Seahawks, but they're both great options this week. But I'd probably go Seahawks. But Browns on the road. I mean, it's usually better. Seahawks are at home, right, against the Rams. Or are they on the road too?
No, I want to say it's in LA.
All right, so they're both on the road, so that doesn't really matter. But yeah, I'd probably go slightly into Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm going Seahawks. Rams, they don't have anybody on offense. Their number one receiver is Van Jefferson.
That's true. Okay. Pierce can always rip off a big run against the Browns or something. That's true.
There you go. You never know. All right. Jay Duvall just wants to remind y'all, hit the like button. Agree. He said, you mentioned this earlier. I did see that, Duval. I can't show all the comments, but I guess somebody helped answer the question. He's been with us from the beginning. Do remember you. Yeah, good luck to everyone. Guys, we just want everyone here, hopefully, to win. Hopefully, they're all playing each other in some way. That's our goal. Everybody gets dubs. All right, John Stockman. Who's the better stash? Okay, now the early waiver wire video hasn't come out yet. That's late in the week, but you're going to find out. I will talk about some of these guys. Jordan Mason, Warren, Kyron Williams, or none.
Well, first of all, I like your Samurai Jack avatar. That's cool. But it's definitely Jalen Warren because we know, Kyron Williams, it doesn't even matter. That offense is so bad. I want no part of it. Mason, yeah, I don't know. But Jalen Warren has a path, and sadly that path might open up to him, sadly. So I think it's definitely got to be Warren.
Yeah. So, for those who haven't been watching for the past 2 hours, I want no part of the Rams offense in any way whatsoever. Probably less so than the Broncos. The Broncos are now the 31st worst offense, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Warren, again, it's hard to say. We don't know if he's healthy. We don't know if Najee's healthy. We don't know. Warren is the guy with the most upside, but he's also probably owned in more leagues. I do think you should be interested in Mason because guess what? Now all of a sudden, he looks like the handcuff to CMC, who may or may not be dealing with a knee issue. But I'd say right now, Warren has the most upside, but I think Mason is worth stashing as well if you have the space in a deep league. Mr. Jones with me, bench Dylan since week 2. I waited too long. I started benching him week 4, I think. But now I regret not benching him last week, but whatever. All right, Humberto. Welcome back, Humberto. Always with us as well. Dak, Etienne, Eckler. Nice. Adams, Devontae, Schultz, and you got Aaron Jones at the flex. Would you go... Oh, wait. I guess he's asking flex, Aaron Jones, Edwards, or White.
This week, you got to go Aaron Jones. It's a smash spot against the Bears. Even if Leonard Fournette is out, I'm still playing Aaron Jones over Rachaad White.
Aaron Jones has to be in your lineup this week. I'd say number 2 of that group, probably even with or without Lenny, would be White. Do you agree? You put him over Edwards?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're only flexing one guy. If you do have 2 flex spots, White would be the second one. First place, up 2 games. That's what we like to see. All right, Jose Aldaco, Damian Pierce, White, or Piron?
Well, if this is like a lot of ifs here. If Lenny is out, it's White.
Yeah.
If Lenny plays but Mixon is out, it's Piron. If Lenny plays and Mixon plays, do I still play White over Pierce? Or do I gamble on Pierce against the terrible Browns?
Because the Bucks, it's not a bad matchup. They get in the Saints, right?
Yeah, it's not a terrible matchup, but again, you're not starting Rachaad White hoping he runs for 150 yards and scores 2 rushing touchdowns. You're starting him because of all that glorious pass catching. But man, I mean, you can't start Piron if Mixon plays because we know Mixon will be the guy. So he's out if. But with White and Lenny, we don't know. Like, it could be more White than Lenny still because let's be real, White has looked better than Lenny. White even last week, White ripped off that big run. Lenny has not ripped off one big run this whole year. So.
And even if Lenny plays, he's going to be 100%. Is he going to get just his normal workload? You don't know. I'm tempted to just say I put Piron last out of this group, even if Mixon is out, because he's solely dependent on pass catching work. He's not going to run a great amount and for great success, I don't think, in this game against the Chiefs. I mean, Jamar Chase comes back. Yeah, I would go with Pierce or White. I feel like it should be Pierce, of course, statistically, But look how bad Pierce has been the last 2 weeks. So
Yes.
I think Rashad White is the move here.
Yeah, I think I go White either way. I just, man, terrified to have Pierce in my lineup right now.
Yeah. I think there's too much risk. Go Rashad White. I think you should be safe either way. And then Olave or Watson over Gabe Davis. Either one.
I'm going Watson. Finally one where I don't have to bench Watson. I can finally just put Watson in my lineup. Like, I like Olave, but Gabe against New England, no thank you. Not chancing that. If I'm going to play a Gabe Davis type of player, give me the one who's on fire right now and has done it 3 games in a row. That's Watson.
Yeah. I'm putting Watson over Olave this week. I agree. I think you go either one over Gabe for sure. Especially this week. I don't think Gabe is playable this week, but
no, I'm not.
I go Watson. Yeah. Again, we don't do the busts anymore, but if we did, I'd go Gabe Davis. Cerulean Dog is in the house. He wants to know Evan Engram, Hunter Henry, or Hayden Hurst at tight end.
I think I still gotta go Engram. I'm not chasing that, what should have been a 2-touchdown game from Henry. Because this is what he does. Every now and then he scores a touchdown, scores 2 touchdowns, and then everybody chases it. They throw Henry in their lineup, and then he gets like 1 catch for 5 yards. So, and Hurst with Chase back. I mean, it's a shootout. There could be a lot of points. Maybe he scores, but Engram against Detroit, just too good of a matchup. I'm going to go Engram.
Going Engram. Mention this again. You guys will see the tight end start sit when it comes out. Not falling for Hunter Henry either. I'll go Evan Engram this week. And then Kevin R is 10-2. Love it. After using the no running back draft. Oh, you got a fellow 0 RB drafter in the house.
Yes,
admittedly, we're a little more anchor RB. At least I know I was anchor RB for sure this year. Hopefully you anchored to the right RB. But all right. Wouldn't drop Singletary, Wilson, White, or Pierce for somebody on waivers like Warren?
I would drop Singletary for Warren.
Really?
Honestly. What are you gonna? When are you ever gonna confidently start Devin Singletary?
Well, I will say Singletary. He's still the lead guy in Buffalo, which is a good offense. He did score, and not last week, but he had a couple of weeks in a row scoring. They're giving him the ball actually in the red zone, which is weird. But I feel like there's as much upside for Singletary as there guy for Warren, even if Najee is out. I'd rather have Singletary. You can't drop White.
You can't drop White. You can't drop Pierce.
You can't drop Pierce. What if Pierce puts up like 12 carries for 20 yards this week?
Oh, then I'm dropping. Then you drop him. Drop him. Because it's over at that point. Because it's like, that was Cleveland. Like, you can't do it against Cleveland. Then we're done. We're done. But for right now, you can't drop him.
Right? Then he hit the rookie wall like full impact.
Here's my thing with Singletary and Warren. Like, Warren, we at least know will catch lots of passes. Like, I just don't see how you ever play Singletary. If Jaylen Warren is a starter against Carolina or the starter against Vegas in your fantasy playoffs, are you like, he's more than startable in those matchups? Because we know Tomlin isn't going to use a committee. He's not going to it's not going to be a timeshare. Yeah, maybe there'll be a little bit of Benny Snell and McFarland, but it'll be mostly Warren probably. Singletary I'm never going to start Singletary. I don't know. I just get ruthless with my bench at this time. If somebody else wants Singletary, have Singletary. I want a guy with more upside, and to me, Warren has more upside.
Yeah, I mean, I know maybe you can't wait and see because obviously if Najee, hopefully not, but if Najee is ruled out for the season, well, then Warren might not be there next week. I would just wait, see what happens. If Pierce just bombs this week, he might be droppable. If Najee is out long term, that's probably the only way I really want Warren over one of these guys. But if you go the ruthless route, then you cut Singletary. Okay, we're down to Ken Wentz. Thank you for the super chat, much appreciated. All right, so on the bench, currently have benched Pacheco, DPJ, OBJ, Michael Carter, and then Williams on IR, could add one of these handcuffs. Mason, Warren, Knight. This is just kind of like the question we had a few minutes ago.
I'm going to keep saying it. I'm adding Warren. Look, maybe Najee will be fine. And I hope Najee is fine. But he has the clearest path right now. Mason, just a handcuff. Knight, maybe he'll be the starter this week. But look, do we expect Michael Carter to be out for the season and James Robinson to never play again? I mean, if that was the case, if we knew Michael Carter's injury was serious and he was going to miss a lot of time, then I would say Knight, because he probably will be the starting running back. And they have a great schedule, but it just doesn't seem like we're going to, maybe a week or two of Michael Carter at most. So I'm going Warren here out of this group. I'm going Warren. I think he has the most potential and the clearest path.
Well, what I would do is I would add Warren if you have room, and then I'd drop OBJ, and then I'd add another guy like Knight. And then what?
Yeah, actually, I would do that too. I would drop OBJ. I would add both Warren and Knight, actually.
And then you get some clarity because, look, if Michael Carter comes back, well, then you can drop Knight, and then you can stash Mason. So, add Warren, and then just drop OBJ at this point and stash running backs. You definitely rather have the high upside handcuff running back than a guy who, I mean, let's face it, we know the name of Odell Beckham, but at best, he might be the number 3 option in Dallas's passing attack because he will obviously be behind CeeDee Lamb, and they'll probably be behind Dalton Schultz. And they still run the ball quite a bit. So, yeah. All right, and then Brett wants to know, if Warren is available, would you drop Pirine for him right here, right now?
Probably, because the thing is, we're talking about 2 handcuffs. One handcuff, Pirine, Mixon probably coming back at worst next week, because, again, it's just a concussion. I mean, I don't want to say just a concussion like they're not serious. Obviously, they're serious. But what I mean is, we know it's usually 1-2 weeks max, and then they're back. Even Tua, who had that brutal concussion, had 2 concussions in a short time period. What, he missed 3 weeks, and then he was back? So, Pirine's path is coming to an end very quickly here. It could be this week. It could be next week. And then he just goes back to being handcuffed. Warren, maybe he'll just be a handcuff too. But Najee's hurt right now, and we don't know the severity. There could be the potential that he's hurt longer. So I would drop Pirine for Warren, assuming you don't need Pirine this week. Of course.
Again, and when guys like this, hopefully you're not having to start one of these guys this week because, of course, Warren might not even play. We don't know. But you got to look long-term. Who has the most long-term upside? It's Warren, right? We know this. So, yeah, I would do that. I think you're fine dropping Pirine. Probably not going to miss him because hopefully you're not having to start him this week. And even if he does play, Mixon's out, why not do much? Tristram dropping by to say,
what's up?
So, see you in the Discord for sure. Which, by the way, if you haven't joined the Discord, also link is down below. It is free, so information down below. Enzo saying, I don't know if we saw a super chat from him. Hopefully not. I'll see if I missed one. I don't think so, though. Okay. Let's go to another one here. We have... Let's try to do a non-Jalen Warren question.
I guess I should have put him on the thumbnail. Put Zay Jones, but I guess I should have put Jalen Warren.
This is all right. I feel like this question was just for you.
Okay.
Bangwin02YT. Who would you rather have rest of the season? Swift or Rashad?
I think it's got to be Rashad because, I mean, look, Swift is always going to have to contend with Jamal Williams. Even if he, starts getting more usage and more work, which I think he will, he's still going to have to contend with Jamal Williams around the goal line. Yes, Rachaad White may have to contend with Lenny, but we just saw what Rachaad White could be without Leonard Fournette. 90% of the snaps. Here, real quick, name me another running back that plays 90% of the snaps. You can't because there isn't one. None. There is none. There is no other. Like, go look. There is no other running back that plays 90% of the snaps. 9 targets, 9 catches. Like that. Like Rashad White without Leonard Fournette is DeAndre Swift on steroids, basically. So if I have to choose, I'm taking Rashad White.
Not saying something, considering, again, yet to be released, but look at the rest of our videos coming out this week. Feeling good about DeAndre Swift, but I guess feeling better about, again, you're talking rest of the season, though. So
yeah, talking about rest of the season. Talking about that potential, like the potential. Because, look, if Jamal Williams got hurt tomorrow in practice, and I don't ever want anybody to get hurt, do we just think DeAndre Swift is going to play 90% of the snaps all of a sudden? No
way.
Justin Jackson will probably play 50% of the snaps or something, right? Like, or Craig Reynolds will be activated and play like a bunch of snaps. We saw what Rashad White will be without Leonard Fournette. He will be an absolute workhorse who catches a ton of passes. Yeah, I'll take White.
Yeah, agree here. Look, maybe you can get on the list. The Christmas card list. All right, no, it's good.
Hey, you're the only person in the endgame community who doesn't have Rashad White. Like, sorry, we tried to tell you. Tried to tell you since draft day.
Joined too late. I think you joined too late. All right, the 415 Giant. You like better Lockett or Pickens this week?
Gotta be Lockett. I know Pickens has a great matchup, but look, he still has Kenny Pickett throwing to him. Lockett also has a great matchup, and we've seen Lockett has tremendous upside in this offense. You got to go Lockett.
Yeah, going Lockett. Don't love Lockett's matchup necessarily, but yeah, he's always a solid start. And so, yeah, I'll go Lockett. Feel a little bit better about him. Mason says, been helping him out. That's what we're here for. Thank you for watching. All right, got a tough matchup to take first. All right, so I feel like this is too easy. Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Rashad White.
Yeah, I cannot play Alvin Kamara this week. I mean, look, maybe he does something weird like scores 2 touchdowns and on everybody's bench, but Alvin Kamara against Tampa Bay for as bad as he's been. And look, you can say, like, look what Nick Chubb did against him. Nick Chubb didn't do anything against him. He got bailed out by an Amari Cooper bomb with less than a minute to go in overtime to set him up for a 1-yard game-winning score. He didn't do anything before that. He wasn't going to do anything this week. This is still an elite run defense. If they can shut down Nick Chubb literally for 5 quarters, they had to shut him down for an extra quarter. They can definitely shut down Alvin Kamara, who's been terrible. Like, no, I'm not starting Alvin Kamara this week. No way.
Yeah. Kamara didn't do anything last week and not going to do anything this week. Got to start Dalvin Cook. And then, again, even if Lenny plays, you still have to feel good about Rashad White. So hopefully that helps you. Again, Louis C. Welcome back, Louis. Got both Jacobs and Etienne. If they miss, got Brian Robinson, Zonovan Knight already. Nice. And then Madison. Don't need the points. About to be number 1. Hey, take the points. You always want the points.
Yeah.
I think both these guys are probably going to play, though. I mean, Etienne, they keep saying he's going to play. I don't think Jacobs. What I heard is they said, like, they're going to rest him. So don't panic. You might see him miss in practice. But that's because they want to make sure they can roll him out for another 30 carries next week.
Come on. Josh Jacobs is playing for a humongous contract that some team is going to give him. He's not going to miss this game. There's no, like, you'd have to, like, cut his leg off for him to miss this game. He's going to play. Don't worry.
Even if he only plays 1 quarter and gets hurt, it doesn't matter. He's going against the Chargers. He could win people's matchups single-handedly, probably just in the first half. Let's not get carried away. He probably won't do what he did last week, but still, I think you're good. Start Jacobs, start Etienne. If somebody gets ruled out, you can just throw in Brian Robinson. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
Look, love to take all the credit for your number 1 seed, but you're building the team. We're just kind of like the guides on the side.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Humberto with another one. Etienne, Eckler, Aaron Jones, White, Dillon, Warren, Edwards. That's quite the running back room. Handcuffed every running back you could get. That's the way to do it. Did have Williams, but traded him for Devontae Smith. But that's a good move, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely.
How do you rank these guys? Just because I know there's not really necessarily a question here. I mean, Eckler is clearly your number 1 guy. Assuming he starts, because look, you might have to make a decision here. You go.
No, I might
Etienne
go
or
Aaron Jones over Etienne this week, anyways, just because it's such. Not have to worry about the foot, not have to worry about the matchup. It's such a good spot for Aaron Jones. The last time they played the Bears, what did he like? 2 touchdowns, 100,000 yards or something. Like, yeah,
pretty much.
I might just go Eckler and Aaron Jones either way.
Yeah,
Even if
I think those are your top two. And if you can flex one, you'd still put probably Etienne over White.
Yeah, assuming Leonard Fournette's back, I'm still going Etienne over White. Yes.
All right. Yeah,
Actually,
Etienne.
I'm probably going Etienne over White either way, assuming Etienne's healthy.
Yeah, Etienne, if he plays, you play him. He should be okay. Sounds like he's fine. All right, just living life. Who is the top tight end on waivers? Well, we don't know your waivers, but I'm not going to say Jelani Woods.
In endgame leagues, there's a lot of good tight ends on waivers because we don't make tight ends a required start. But in like if I look at my 12 team, let's see, my 12 team super flex league with tight end. Let me see who's on waivers here. So if I'm looking at, oh man, not a lot. I mean, I'm looking at, Robert Tonyan, Greg Dulcich, Logan Thomas, Noah Fant, maybe Ty Conklin.
Conklin is interesting going against his former team in Minnesota, familiar for him. So he's one. We've mentioned Evan Ingram a lot. He hasn't done a lot lately, but if he's out there, he's definitely a good streaming option. Jawan Johnson.
Man, these guys must be hoarding tight ends in this league.
Foster Moreau's probably been picked up in most leagues by now, I would think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Ingram should be available in most leagues. Conklin was probably a good one. And you know what? If Justin Fields plays, you might be able to go back to Kmet. Okay, he's saying, okay, I see this now right below. It says he has Higbee and Kmet. You can drop Higbee.
Yeah, you can definitely drop Higbee.
I think if Fields plays, you could roll out Kmet and be okay, unless a guy like Ingram is out there. All right, here is the time-old question. Jamal or Swift?
I like them both this week, honestly. But I'm going Swift this week. Again, you'll have to stay tuned for an upcoming video where I explain why I really like DeAndre Swift this week. I think they both could have good games, but I'm going Swift.
Gonna go Swift. Look, of course, we know Jamal Williams could score a touchdown. Let's still go for the upside. Look, DeAndre Swift has also been scoring, not as many, granted, but he's been scoring his share of touchdowns somehow, despite barely touching the ball. So, yeah. Let's see here. I'm trying to see if this. I think this is a trade, not a question, but a trade that was made. Okay, so Raza wants to know what we think about this. Feels like he lost. Okay, you traded for Andrews and Keenan, but gave Rachaad White, Lockett, and Dalton Schultz. Is that an L?
I don't think so. I mean, no, Andrews hasn't been great the last couple of weeks, but the usage is still there. It's still there. I think he'll be fine. I mean, I would definitely take Keenan over Lockett. Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe giving up Rachaad White also in that deal hurts a little bit, but I don't think you lost. I think it seems pretty fair. Maybe you slightly lost, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's giving up Rachaad White because, again, you'd rather have Andrews than Schultz. I would take Keenan over Lockett, but they're both close. But then that's the thing is you gave Rachaad White. Look, if Rachaad White was like your fourth running back, it's fine. I don't think it's a big loss. Maybe the other side got a little bit more out of it, but I think you're okay. And look, if Mark Andrews starts becoming Mark Andrews and gets targeted a ton and he's the tight end 2 at least the rest of the season, it'll come out better for you. So
yeah,
I think it's okay. Louis, back to Louis, who had that super chat. He says there are some teams that have 3 defenses and 3 quarterbacks. I mean,
I mean, my thoughts on this are great because that means now I can go to the waiver wire anytime I want and grab a really good player if I need to. Because, yeah, ridiculous.
I've seen it, right? I don't play in those kind of leagues anymore, but I've been in leagues like that. Yeah, like any defense that's available, just people just hoarding defenses. Like that's not how you do it. All right, let's see where we're at, which, by the way, guys, we're going to be on a little bit longer. We're getting close to the 3-hour mark. We try to stay on as long as we can, answer your start-sit questions on Saturday, and we'll do waiver wire, mostly trade questions tonight. So if you have any urgent pickup questions, because waiver wire, usually goes through for a lot of leagues on Tuesday night, some on Wednesday, some don't have a limit, so it doesn't matter. If you're still trading, which obviously some of you are, still see some trade questions coming in, we're going to hopefully help you with those as well. All right, so here's an interesting one from Olivier. Would you trade the Sun God for Hawkinson and Scary Terry? Needs a tight end because of Goddard.
No, because here's the thing. I probably don't do this anyways, but it didn't sound like Goddard. It sounded like the Eagles expected Goddard back. It didn't sound like it would be more than the 4 weeks for IR, which would put him back right in time for the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna sacrifice a high end wide receiver like Amon-Ra St. Brown for Terry McLaurin just to get Hawkinson when I might get Goddard back in week 15, and then what are you gonna do? You're gonna have to bench one of those guys. So you're making your team worse. Just to make it better in the short term. So I'm not doing this. I'd rather just stream tight end. I mean, unless you're in a must win this week, but even then, is TJ Hawkinson versus say Juwan Johnson gonna be the difference you won and lost when you're giving up Amon-Ra, who could literally win your week? Yeah, I'm just keeping Amon-Ra.
I mean, yeah, we've been saying Hawkinson is a must start, and he's looking like one of the top tight ends. But Amon-Ra St. Brown is clearly one of the top wide receivers, and again, the drop off is a little bit too much there to Terry. Look, if Terry McLaurin was doing like he had been on that couple of week stretch where he was looking really good, but he's kind of fallen off, then we see there's going to be some inconsistency. So the key thing is, you said for the playoffs. Goddard should be back for the playoffs, so no, probably would not do this. I think Hawkinson obviously is going to be a really good tight end. You should have Goddard back. All right, let's see what else we got here. Sanders, no. Trying to find some players we have not yet talked about. Maybe get some questions for users we haven't yet put up here.
All right, well, let me go. I'll start looking. Go back up to the top more. Maybe we got some questions about players. I mean, it's a lot of the same players.
All right, we got to start sit question here. We can do this.
All right.
Mark is 6-6. Obviously going to need a win this week. Standard league, start 2 receivers. Got Christian Watson, Olave, Palmer, and Evans.
I'm going Watson and Evans, especially in a standard scoring league, because I mean, I get Olave can hit on that big play and score a touchdown, but don't love him this week. Palmer, Look, Evans, especially in a standard scoring league, we know on any given week, Evans can hit on a big play, score a touchdown. Same with Christian Watson. I'm going those 2 guys.
Yep. Evans, again, not panicked about him. He's always has touchdown upside. You got to start him, and of course, Watson. Palmer in a standard league is a lot less appealing.
Yeah.
Olave does have some upside, but no, I'm starting Evans still over him, and I'm definitely starting Watson. Okay, I think we did that one. Here's an interesting one. Giovanni Hoxa. Would you trade Etienne to get D-Hop? Got a first-round bye, pretty much secured. So basically, who would you rather have rest of the season?
I mean, this feels very fair. Stud running back for stud wide receiver. It depends on your team. if you're one of these teams, maybe you drafted, Austin Eckler, and then you took Saquon in the second. You grabbed Walker off waiver wire, and you grabbed Etienne in like the fourth or fifth, and you're sitting on these 4 running backs that you're never going to start. You can't start all 4 of them. Then yeah, I take D-Hop definitely. But if Etienne's your RB1, and now you're going to be starting, as much as I like Rachaad White, if you're going to be starting, Rachaad White and Miles Sanders every week, then no, I'm not taking this deal because you need Etienne. So really, it just comes down to team makeup.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're switching different positions here. So how's your depth at each position? That's the question. In a vacuum, I think I'd say I would rather have D-Hop. Maybe it's just me. It must be just me. I still, for some reason, have this trust issues with the Jacksonville running backs and Etienne. Now I feel like they're like, oh, you know what? We really need to preserve Etienne for the playoffs we're not going to make. And like, we're going to keep him fresh and he's going to start seeing less work. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But yeah, I'd rather have D-Hop. But again, it kind of depends on your team need. All right. Have to put this one up. Oh, no, not that one. Oh, yeah, that one. But actually, it was this one. Fins up. Who would you stream? Seahawks or Browns? We had this exact same question before. The answer was?
Yeah, Seahawks by a little bit. They're both good choices, though.
Both good choices, but go Seahawks. That Rams offense is basically non-existent. I think that's the best way to put it. Pretty sure there's some teams in Power 5 conferences that could run over them. Would you trade Justin Fields for Garrett Wilson if you have Dak?
I would. I mean, if assuming you need Garrett Wilson, like he's not just going to be a bench piece, like you're not just going to put Garrett Wilson on your bench every week, but if you need him, like, as your flex or as your wide receiver 3 or even your wide receiver 2 or something, I would do it because Dak is good enough. You don't need both Dak and Fields, and Garrett Wilson, again, assuming you're starting him every week, can change your franchise, can alter your team. So I would do it.
Yeah, I would do it. You don't need both. Between Dak and Fields, I mean, you can say, well, Fields has more upside. Maybe you trade Dak. Fields has a lot more risk, and not just the shoulder thing. But again, Bears are out of it. How do you know he gets banged up and they don't sit him?
That's the other thing, yeah.
In this case, you can kind of play it safe. Like we always say, upside, but you want a guy you know is going to actually be in the lineup the rest of the season. So I'd go Dak. Dak is pretty solid. All right. Daniel Keenan. Since Mooney is out for the season, would you pick up Tony, Nico, or Elijah Moore?
I mean, I guess Elijah Moore, but I'm not really expecting much from Elijah Moore. He still played, only like 38% of the snaps and only had 2 targets.
Right.
But maybe. I mean, these are all kind of maybes. Like Nico Collins, no. I was really big on Nico in the offseason because I really thought Davis Mills could potentially, take a leap.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen. If they're going to stick with Kyle Allen, it's really not going to happen. Tooney, a.k.a. Tony, but I like Tooney, actually. I like that name for him because he just is like a cartoon, right? He's like this make-believe cartoon that may not even really exist. Who knows? I'm done with him. So I would go Elijah Moore and just see what happens. If he doesn't do anything this week, just drop him again.
That's exactly how I feel. Yeah, done with Tony. No thanks. Moore. The thing is with Nico, he's a guy who's proven to be just kind of a boring, floor guy. He'll get like 4, maybe 5 catches, 60, maybe if you're lucky 70 yards, and that's his ceiling. There's no touchdowns coming. Kyle Allen's a quarterback. That's kind of it. So at least take a shot with Elijah Moore and see if lightning strikes. I mean, you might as well. Okay. Where do you put your money on this bet? Mike Evans versus Marshawn Lattimore. He has Evans TKO in round 2.
That's the thing, right? Like these Marshawn Lattimore, Mike Evans games never even seem to make it to the end. They get like kicked out before the game's even over. You got to go with Lattimore, though. I mean, he pretty much owns Mike Evans.
Head.
He owns him.
He's definitely in his head for sure.
Oh yeah, he's in his head for sure.
All right, less exciting question, but still worth asking.
Ugh.
Chief Stingley, DPJ or Thielen?
Look, I'm not chasing. Talk about Hunter. I'm not chasing that Thielen game. The Patriots went into that game and said we are going to double and triple team Jefferson. It didn't work, but it also let Adam Thielen like just run around like again, like hey, look at me, I'm over here, like you know what I mean? At least DPJ gets Houston, he gets Deshaun Watson. I'm gonna go with DPJ over Thielen.
I'm gonna go with DPJ too. I mean, it's a really bad matchup for Thielen this time. It goes to Jets. Obviously, we know what they've done to some of the top receivers. So, yeah, I'm not holding out hope for Thielen. I'll take a shot on DPJ in this case. And then this one's interesting. Tua or Geno, rest of season.
Well, okay. I'm not a big Geno guy.
No.
And he really hasn't had like a massive ceiling this year outside of he really hasn't in any game. He gets the Rams, Carolina, San Francisco, KC, the Jets. That is not a good stretch. I'm going Tua.
Gotta go Tua. Because even though Tua's matchups aren't great, we've seen it. Look, just dump it off, getting the ball of Tyreek Hill in the hands of Tyreek Hill, you're good. I think they'll continue to throw it. I feel good enough about Tua. I'm going Tua for sure. We know he's got more upside. All right, Gibbs needs some help. This one looks pretty interesting. Would you trade Amon-Ra and Rashad White for CMC and Devontae Smith?
Man.
Man.
I don't know.
Do we know what CMC we're getting the rest of the season? That's the question. I think it's worth a shot because you're trading White as the running back you're trading away. You're getting CMC. I'm guessing that's an upgrade for your running back, right? So it's risky, but I think I would do it.
Yeah, I still believe in Christian McCaffrey. I don't especially now that Elijah Mitchell is out. Yeah, I think I'd do it. It's close, and it comes down to team need. But if Rashad White's you're starting Rashad White every week, and now you'll be starting CMC every week instead, I do it.
Take a shot. It's worth it. No risk it. No biscuit.
That's right.
All right, let's do a couple more quickly. We're getting to the end here. Let's do, how about a little lightning round? Always like to finish strong. Oh, I don't know if this will be a quick answer, but M. Ali, would you trade Mike Evans, Rashad White, and Randall Cobb for Stephon Diggs?
All right, so this is I'm not gonna be able to lightning round this one because it's too complex for lightning round. This comes down to again team makeup and also your starting roster. If you're in a 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, and you already have 2 good running backs, then yes, because chances are Rashad White is never going to be in your lineup, and Diggs is a huge upgrade over Evans, and Cobb doesn't even matter. This is basically Evans and Rashad White for Diggs, right? This is Evans and Rashad White for Diggs. Now, if you're in a really deep league, like one of our endgame leagues, where you have to start 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, multiple flexes, a super flex, something like that, or just really deep, then I'm not so sure because you need depth in that kind of a league, and you don't want to give up Evans and Rashad White to get Diggs. And now you're starting, Tyler Algier as a flex, or you're starting, Sky Moore as a flex or something like that. And, because you have no depth anymore. You just lost all your depth. But, if it's a standard, like a typical league, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, which is probably the most common league, I want the Diggs side in that case.
I think I'll take the Diggs side again without knowing all the details of your league and your team and everything. I think you come out ahead with Diggs. Maybe if you said, okay, Leonard Fournette shut down for the season, okay, then maybe I'll say I'll just keep White with Evans, but I think you're good with Diggs. I'm not sure what that means, but let's see. It's All right, so now let's do the lightning round. A couple of quick ones. Yeah, not for Quandre Diggs. All right, let's help Louis out one more time because he's been on here a lot. Fellas, forgot to ask for a McLaurin replacement in week 14. Love that you're looking ahead. Richie James, DJ Chark, MVS, Devontae Parker, or Julio? I know.
None. I would probably just wait and see what happens this week and see if somebody better pops up next week, maybe through injury or I don't know. Maybe Sky Moore has 10 targets and becomes like the number one receiver. I don't know. Like, I don't want to start any of these guys if I don't have to. I would rather just wait and see what happens. And I'm sure all these guys will be there for you next week too if you want.
Yeah, well, that's true. Look, twist my arm and force me to pick one. I guess I'll go MVS, but yeah, I'm not loving it. But who are you loving here? All right, Joe Ortiz has Mixon. Would you drop Patterson to have Piron as the handcuff?
I would. Again, this is the time you got to get ruthless with your bench. Are you ever going to start Patterson? I mean, can you ever feel good starting Patterson right now? Like,
no, I don't think you need him. You're probably not starting Patterson. At least I hope.
Yeah, I hope you're not starting Patterson.
Yeah, and unless you think Patterson's going to go off this week, next week maybe you can just drop Pirine and pick up Patterson again, but just keep Pirine. So yeah, you can do this. Yeah. Morgan South, pick a tight end rest of the season. Hurst, Komet, Njoku, or Fryer Muth.
I think I have Njoku a little bit ahead of Fryer Muth. It's pretty close. And then I have those two guys pretty far. Like, then I would have Komet and then Hurst.
I'm going Njoku first. We talked about him a lot. I go Freiermuth just behind him, and then I go Komet. Hurst is last. Let's see. Flex a wide receiver between Devontae Smith or Peoples-Jones.
It's got to be Smith. I mean, they're going against Tennessee. Tennessee, great against the run, terrible against the pass. He had 9 targets last week. I know he only caught 4 for some reason, but I got to go Smith over Peoples-Jones.
Yeah, definitely go with Smith. Just incredible fantasy. AJ Dillon or Rashad White? Non-PPR.
I'm still going White. I know AJ Dillon, it's the Bears, but look, 8 carries, 3 receptions last week. I don't know. I'm going White.
I'm going White too. Yeah. Even in non-PPR, because he has just as much, probably more touchdown upside than Dillon because he's being used more. Not the one I wanted. There you go. Ray Drod, Pollard or Zeke?
Yeah, this is the coin flip of all coin flips. This is almost as kind of like Jamal and Swift right now. Do you want the guy who can plunge into the end zone, or do you want the guy who can rip off the big run, the big catch? It's a good it's a good spot for both of them this week. I don't know. I'm going for Pollard. I want the guy who can rip off a 50-yard touchdown, not the guy who can fall in for a 1-yard touchdown. I'm going with Pollard. But it's really close.
I'm going Pollard too. I know Zeke had more points, looked better yardage-wise last week, but I still like Pollard better. And then Rise above anything, Olave or Lockett.
I like Lockett this week. I mean, I know you look and you say, "Oh, it's the Rams," but look, the Rams, they're not playing hard, and you don't have to worry about Ramsey with Lockett. Lockett's not going to see any Jalen Ramsey, so I like Lockett this week.
I don't love Lockett this week, but I can't love the Saints offense in general, and they're not exactly in a great spot. I will go Lockett. I feel at least he's in a better position. Who knows, the Rams, maybe their defense will start rolling over too, just like their offense already has. All right, guys. That will do it. Now, don't forget all your start-sit questions. I know you guys have a lot, but that's where we're going to be back on Saturday evening again to answer all your start-sit questions. We'll have injury updates for you first, a lot more information. Don't forget, join the Discord. You can be in the mix all week, all season long, all year long, really, with us, part of the Endgame community. If you want to join the Patreon, see what that's about to support us, check out the link below, patreon.com/fantasyfootballendgame, and we'll see you back. And don't forget, check out our videos each and every day. We've already hinted at them. We got start sit coming for every position and a couple of new surprises this week. So check those out. All right. Good luck in week 13.